Oh, wait, that's what... Okay. That's what that does. There you go. Hello. What's up? Yeah. I'm so excited to do this. I can't wait. I want to do this for a while, too. I'm super excited to do this. I really wanted to do this for a while because, oh my god, some of their IGN, like, there's infamous ones that we all know, but I can't wait to watch these. I'm so excited. Okay, hold on. Is that good? Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna review every single IGN Sonic review, and there's a couple that I actually have not seen, so this will be interesting. Okay, let's go. Let's get ready.
Hey everybody, this is Mark Bozon with the IGN Nintendo team, and I'm here to give you guys a video review for Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood for Nintendo DS. Sonic Chronicles is a new RPG franchise that I think Sega is trying to kick off here.
I've never actually played this game. Surprisingly, even though I played so many Sonic games, I've never played this. I know that it exists. I know about its music. It's bad music. That's really it.
They're starting it off with Dark Brotherhood, the first and only announced game so far, but it's done by BioWare's new handheld division in Canada. And really, in the end, it's not one specific thing that drags this game down or something that's just a huge major flaw that makes it where it doesn't work. Really, it just feels like a first-time effort. The game's your standard RPG fare. It's really made to be kind of a starter RPG for people. So it's not really very intimidating. There's a lot of hand-holding going on. There aren't random battles. You actually walk into people. And all around on the surface, it looks like a very nice game. I mean, visually, it's really impressive. It's got a nice hand-painted look to it. And, rather than going with tile design, they just literally painted on the screen. And it's got a really unique, very beautiful look on DS. On the gameplay front, though, Sonic Chronicles is seriously lacking. For starters, Sonic isn't the best source material for an RPG. And if BioWare could pull it off, it'd be seriously...
I think that's true. When I see gameplay, I think it is kind of lacking in the gameplay because it just kind of looks very... I mean, it looks fine, but it definitely should have been a little bit better.
Impressive. You've got your team. They're doing the standard, search for the Chaos Emeralds and go after Dr. Eggman. And it does get more complex than that, and you get a couple twists and turns. But all around, it just doesn't feel like a huge RPG story. You've got the interactive dialogue trees that BioWare is famous for, but they don't go very far. I mean, you can pick if you're going to say something nice or something mean to somebody, and they'll respond in that line after. But it doesn't extend, or you don't have, anything kind of like a good or evil, meter or anything like that. So things like that just kind of feel like they're sort of thrown in there, and the entire game overall just has this very thin RPG feel. It's more about just getting back in the overworld, running around, and using character skills. Really, the biggest gripe I have with Sonic Dark Brotherhood is just the whole game feels kind of soulless. The battle mechanic is a straight rip from Elite Beat Agents, and it works, but it could have been like one of 30 or 40 or 50 different unique ways using the touchscreen in fights, and instead it's kind of just this one mechanic that's used.
It kind of just looks mediocre. It kind of just looks like a basic, kind of mundane, run-of-the-mill like RPG with just bad music. I mean, I don't mind like the designs up front. The designs look cool. They kind of look like the adventure, or like Sonic X or something. I don't know. They look cool.
Used over and over again. As far as an RPG goes, it's just mainly made up of fetch quests. You run around, use different skills, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I even had to run and go find a stapler for a guy. You keep using these Eggman signal locators, and I mean, it's all very fetch questy. And the whole time it just feels like you're running around in towns rather than ever going out and like truly exploring. Even the puzzles in the game are really basic, and it's a little weird because you can't actually go up to the puzzles and just do them. You have to talk to a guy that's standing next to him, and he'll say, "Hey, Sonic, I got to get in here. I have to solve this. Can you do it for me?" And then and only then will it actually become active. So you get little things like that. They're kind of amateurish as far as making RPGs and really laying things out for the player. And it just feels like you're going from interaction point to interaction point instead of really exploring. There are also a few little oddities in the presentation overall. You have sound effects that kind of cut off, or they sound really low quality overall. The interface is anything but intuitive for equipping items, since it just kind of.
Oh yeah, the sound effects are so goofy. They're goofy as shit. They're so goddamn goofy.
Throws everything in this huge list instead of dividing it up if it's for someone's head or for their hands. So you don't really get a good grasp of what you've got all on your characters. And that you've also got some strange collision with the leveled art, since it's a perspective 2D that's basically painted with collision on it. And then also the camera can't always keep up. It gets kind of framey and does some random things like that. In the end, it isn't like that Sonic is just a downright bad game. It's visually pleasing. It's made to be a good starter RPG. And, if you dig Sonic, there's some cool things to see, some big teammate attacks.
That's fair. I think that's a fair critique.
And, it does feel like the Sonic world's kind of been opened a little more than just, running right and jumping. Especially when you look at the characters, they actually did a good job of dividing them up and saying, okay, this person's going to be a thief class, this person's going to be healing or support. And in that sense, it's really neat. You get the pairing of the teammate attacks, and you also get this where you say, okay, this guy's really unique. I want to bring Knuckles along, or I want to bring Tails along because they're really fun to play with. Even the skill system and different attributes, really cool. And it's definitely a step in the right direction for BioWare as a new handheld team, and also for Sonic Chronicles if it sticks around. If you're crazy about Sonic, it's worth at least giving it a look. But for anybody else, Dark Brotherhood's really going to be a letdown when you look at some of the other RPG offerings that are already on DS. To check out the full written review, go to IGN.com.
Okay. Let me go to IGN. Oh wait, I have it here. I have my account. Let's see what they gave Dark Brotherhood. This should appear. Here it is. Sonic Chronicles. Wow. Hold on. A 6.5. They gave it a 6.5. I wouldn't give it that high. I would probably give it like maybe like a 5.5 or a 6. I don't know. I have to play it. But wow. That is being really generous. Okay. That is being really, really generous. All right. Oh no, not the Sonic Unleashed review. Wait. Oh, it's Unleashed. It's the Wii version. Okay. This is the good one.
If you felt that there's been something missing from the Sonic the Hedgehog games, then you're in luck. Because
oh my god. This one fucking reviewer. They gave Earthworm Jim 3D. This one reviewer gave Earthworm Jim 3D a 7. A 7.1 or 2. They gave Earthworm Jim 3D a 7.2. higher than Earthworm Jim 1 and 2. Like, why? But anyways.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce here today the Werehog. Go ahead and take a second to look at this handsome blue devil.
He is handsome.
Gorgeous, ain't he? Absolutely
Yes.
stunning. Unfortunately, I do have to move on with this review, but fear not, for if your goal is to spend a whole lot of time with the Werehog, well, Sonic Unleashed has you covered.
Okay. That's fair. See, that's a fair critique. See, this is how you do a review. This is how you do a goddamn like IGN review. This is probably the best like IGN review of like the Sonic like Dark Age. Well, so far.
Indeed, this latest project from Sonic Team is one part traditional Sonic game, and what I mean by that are those intense, truly spectacular, zigzagging, loop-de-looping levels that we all love so much. And then, unfortunately, there are the Werehog levels, and yes, I'm looking directly at you, Sonic with rabies. Now, I know you're all going to find this extremely difficult to believe, but Dr. Eggman is at it again. And you're not going to care because the convoluted storyline filled with Dark Gaia and the Chaos Emeralds and splitting of the planet will absolutely
Convoluted. How is the story convoluted? That's weird.
not grab you. And yet,
Not grab you. The story is like one of the best in the Sonic franchise. What? I mean, that's not the strangest critique. For the time, yes. The story was definitely... Sonic stories back then were definitely confusing because, this Sonic has so much dark and, like, twisted and, like, so much conflict and shit after, like, 06. So, yeah. It is kind of... In a way, I agree with him, but now that we're living in 2024 and Sonic Unleashed is being praised as one of the best Sonic games ever made, I don't think it's convoluted, like, at all.
yet the production value is extremely high caliber, absolutely will. Here's a true fact. I looked this up on Wikipedia. Turns out the opening cinematic, phenomenal, stunning, crisp, clean, gorgeous. It's longer than every cinematic in every Nintendo game created in the last gajillion years
Really?
combined. I just blew your mind, didn't I?
I mean, that's a fun fact, I guess. The cutscenes are amazing. They're phenomenal. It's the best in any Sonic game. I love them.
Seriously, though, there's nothing about this game that feels lazy or rushed. In fact, I think the opposite is true. As I said, from the opening cinematic, you have this very epic feeling to the game, and that extends into the other cinemas and also into the presentation of the hub world. You navigate between each region using a virtual planet. You can see it here. And as you progress through the game, the planet begins to come together. So you're actually able to see your progress as you play via the map screen, which I think is pretty cool. Meanwhile, there's a lot of fan service in the game, including hidden artwork, hidden movies, and hidden music. All of it becomes unlocked as you play, and it's a driving force to keep going. For as good as the hub world is, though, I don't like the villages. These house all of the...
Yeah, these suck. These are ass. These are so ass. When I played the Xbox 360 version, I had a blast. That was amazing. When I played the Wii version, I think the Wii version is fine. It's okay. But man, these were ass. I did not like doing these. I did not like seeing them. It blew my mind with all the 3D shit. The hub world.
character interactions, and the style is very 2D, almost Flash-esque, and it feels very pointless. You go to these villages, you interact with these characters, but they have nothing to say. And occasionally you'll get a valuable item, but for the most part, all these interactions are only in place as a means to extend gameplay time. Unleashed is comprised of daytime levels featuring Sonic and nighttime levels featuring the Werehog. Take a guess which ones I like. I think Sonic Team, with the help of Dimps, which helped design some of the daytime levels, has really gotten it right this time around. These feel not only lightning fast, but they are filled with all those obstacles you loved from the other games, including the loop-de-loops and the zigzagging and the bumpers and the jumps, and just the unpredictable, almost chaotic nature of the stages. It's all there, and it's running very, very well. It feels very intense, very fast, and I think you're going to be very pleased. I think fans are also going to appreciate.
I was pleased with this. I'm kind of glad that I still think Black Knight is the best looking Sonic game on the Wii, but this looks pretty fine. It ran what you would expect. It's kind of like the bare minimum of an average like Sonic game. You know what I mean?
Appreciate the shift in perspective that happens very seamlessly as you go. So you will be running in 3D, the camera will shift back, and you'll get a 2D viewpoint, one that harkens back to those classics. And another reason I like these stages so much is that all the obstructions that really interfered with the flow in previous games are gone. So rarely will Sonic come screeching to a halt after crashing into a wall that you only had a split second to see, or a set of spikes, or something like that. All that stuff is gone for the most part, and as a result, you can just run, and I love that. There's a good selection of daytime levels, but Sonic Team has found ways to enhance replay value by adding secondary goals. So, whereas the first time through you might simply have to reach the end of a level, the second time through you might have to collect a certain number of rings, and the third time you may have to beat a time limit. Still, you will find yourself under the moon more than you're under the sun, a truth made more disappointing because the Werehog is so slow.
That's fair. I think it's a fair critique. That is fair. My only issue, I like the Werehog. I'm being serious. I actually do like the Werehog. My issue with the Werehog, though, is it's so long. Like look at this. Look how long this is. 10 minutes. A Sonic level should not take 10 minutes. That is too long. That is like Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic Heroes long. Or no, Sonic Heroes did it fine. It was long, but it was like it wasn't too long. The Werehog, the level, like, it's so long. It's not even. I don't mind that the Werehog's slow, even though you can go fast at it. I don't care if it's a brawler. But the levels go on for so long. In Eggman Land, you know how like long that one is. It's like 40 something minutes. These levels like just wear out. Like they do though. That's my only complaint with the Werehog.
Slow, and therefore the nighttime levels actually linger on. And I have really made a lot of jokes about the Werehog, but
that's a good critique.
Let me be clear. It's not that this portion of the game is a complete and total failure. I don't think it is. It, however, feels nothing like a Sonic game. It's as if you took the jump component out of the Mario games, and I'm really curious as to why Sega forced this onto its fans. The gimmicky Werehog levels are all about slow, clunky platforming.
He's not wrong. I actually agree. I agree. I actually agree. This is a fair critique.
And brawling. Get to an open area. Brawl. Jump off a cliff. Brawl. Get to another open area. Brawl. Gates closed. Brawl. Brawl, 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 brawl. And it keeps going and going and going until you're praying, just absolutely praying for sunlight. Sadly, the Wii version of the game has very gimmicky controls attached to many of the Werehog levels, but the good news is you can use the classic controller or the GameCube controller, and that will really save you. Sonic Unleashed really is one half amazing game and one half pointless gimmick. I think if you can brave the nighttime levels, you're going to absolutely adore the daytime ones. For our full written review, check out IGN.com.
All right, let's see what IGN gave this game. Sonic Unleashed. When the moon rises, Sonic undergoes a great change in quality. What? Come on. Fair critique. 7. They gave Sonic Unleashed a 7. That's fair. I would give the Wii version a 7. I think that's fair. That this number right here. This is a fair review. That wasn't bad. Oh man, the next one though. Man, the next one is gonna be painful. This is gonna suck. I know this review by the back of my hand. This is an infamously like just look. Like look at the even I dislike, but look at the dislikes. Everyone knows it. Shut the oh my god. This is gonna suck, and I know it will.
There's one thing you should know about Sonic Unleashed before spending your hard-earned money on it. It's a big
piece of garbage. Big piece of garbage.
That should probably be enough to warn off anybody who's thinking about playing it, but I guess we should talk a little bit more about it, just in case you like to hear this tortured sound of my voice.
Shut the heck.
Indeed, it's
Shut up, bro. Really? Really? It's Sonic Unleashed? Sonic Unleashed, bro. It's not like 06 or Shadow the Hedgehog. No, it's fucking Unleashed, bro. Like the game that's miles better.
games like this that make reviewers rethink their lives.
Oh my god. Dude. I get that this person's over exaggerating for the funnies, but come on, like God. Sonic back then was just a fucking punching bag at this point.
Now, I have a theory when it comes to Sonic games. Someone at Sega hates the Hedgehog with all his might.
Or maybe someone at IGN hates Sonic the Hedgehog.
And he's going about trying to sabotage the franchise with these awful games. This is the only explanation that makes any sense to me. Pretty much every decision made for this game was...
Bro! How did you miss that? How did you miss that? If you're going to review a game harshly, if you're going to critique a game harshly, don't show bad gameplay like that. An elementary school kid could have done that shit. Literally. Don't show bad gameplay if you're critiquing something really harshly.
Is the wrong one. And Sonic ends up taking more beating than a pinata because of it. Gameplay in Sonic Unleashed...
Bro! This is not real. How do you jump over the dash pad like that? It's like, I know we've all had bad gameplay, but you can't fault the video game for your bad game. This is a Game Grumps episode at this point. This is a Game Grumps episode where Aaron faults the game for his bad gameplay. It's just like a Game Grumps episode. Except Game Grumps was
split up
funny
into
at times.
3 equal parts. There are daytime stages which are actually very good. There are nighttime stages which are actually complete rubbish. And then there's also the hub city where you do a lot of exploration stuff, and that's boring as can be. Now, the daytime stages are actually pretty fun. It's fast platforming that is mostly on rails, and for a brief moment, you might actually think to yourself, wow, this is what a current-gen Sonic game should be. Of course, your hopes will be brutally dashed later on, but never mind that for now. The daytime sections aren't perfect by any means. The jump button can be fatally...
Are you fucking serious? How did you miss the enemy? Why didn't you home attack? Look at this shit. Look at this. And it's the most replayed.
Perfect by any means.
Why did he... He said the A button. This is a horrible review. This is why this review is so bad. This is why. This is the only IGN review. Like, bro, how do you miss that?
The jump button can be fatally unresponsive at times, and it's just a lot of trial and error gameplay that can't...
He jumps over the ramp. Why would you jump over this ramp? Why would you do that? If you think the button is unresponsive.
Get a little bit repetitive after a while.
Ah!
You know, if the game was just 3 hours and only contained these daytime sections, it wouldn't be such a bad thing. And actually, it'd be a pretty good game. You know, I can even overlook the stupid airplane part that they stuck in, which is a rail shooter where you don't actually really get to shoot guns. But see, the problem is the sun goes down. And what happens when the sun goes down? Well, of course, Sonic turns into a werewolf. Oh, excuse me, werehog, if you want to use the official terminology. Now, the reasons why he does this as well, it's not really worth getting into. However, you should know that the game changes completely. Gone is the speed of Sonic, replaced by a bunch of boring, brawling sections. The frame rate's bad, the camera's bad, and the fighting stuff is just tedious and terrible.
The camera? How is I mean, the frame rate is not great, but why is the camera bad?
As a
I think the
werehog, you go
camera's
around beating the
fine.
crap out of stuff and performing a bunch of really bad platforming sections. Oh yeah, and you have stretchy arms, because, you know, everybody knows that werewolves have stretchy arms. Even worse is that...
Dude, I don't think this person... I think this person's taking it too literally with this stuff. It's a fucking cartoon video game. Who cares? Like... And you know, this is what really upsets me too. If Sonic 06 wasn't such a titanic failure, we wouldn't... I mean, we probably would have gotten Unleashed, but we wouldn't have gotten the multitude of these video games, or they wouldn't have been rushed. Because Sonic 06 was really hyped up for the time. It was the most hyped up Sonic game ever made, or ever put out. And I still think it has great level design and fantastic music and like decent graphics and okay controls, but everything else, like, and I guess the story is fine too, but everything else sucks. Like the collision, the physics are all broken. They're broken because of how rushed it was, which sucks. Because I do ironically like 06 for the funnies and for the genuine like level design too, mixed in with the fantastic music. But anyways,
these stages drag on for like a half hour each.
This is true. This right here, what he just said about the levels being like dragging on for a half hour, I think that's fair.
No excuse to extend the pain this much, especially since the fun daytime levels only last 4 or 5 minutes. Sonic the Werehog makes Biggs the Cat look like an endearing character. Yeah, it's that bad.
Bro.
Even if there were just those
Dude.
two kinds of levels, this game wouldn't be that bad. Sure, you'd have to endure the horrible nighttime levels, but you'd always know that the daytime was coming soon enough and you'd get to enjoy those. However, Team Sonic didn't want to let any slip-ups happen. They had to make this game bad. So how do you make it worse? Well, first, you add completely unnecessary RPG elements. You gain XP for every bad guy you kill, and then you can spend this XP...
How is that a bad thing? I mean, it's not very... Okay. All right, I'm back. I just had to take a shower.
Be to increase things like Sonic speed or your Werehog's moveset.
Oh yeah, well, back what I was saying. Yeah, I think the RPG element. The only thing I can see with this critique being kind of fair is with the Werehog, because when you start as the Werehog, it's not the greatest. But other than that, I don't agree with this review.
It's not so terrible, but it does seem unnecessary. I mean, really, do I need to pay to upgrade Sonic's speed? Shouldn't Sonic be as fast as he can be from the get-go? Isn't that the reason why I bought a
Oh shit! What the fuck?
talk to people for no reason and collect coins to get to the next level? Oh, and you can cleanse people's souls by taking pictures of them. I'm not even joking about that. These hubs are a giant waste of time that only serve to annoy the player. And once again, it's just more gameplay that's keeping you away from the one part of Sonic that's fun, and that's the daytime levels. Sonic Unleashed is a classic example of what happens when a good idea isn't left alone. There's just too much fussing that's been done to this once good formula. It's kind of like having a group of 5-year-olds come up with ideas after giving them a bowl full of sugar. Sure, there are fun parts buried inside, but don't subject yourself to the pain.
This gameplay.
But the best thing I can say about Sonic Unleashed is that it does at least make the old Sonic the Hedgehog games look a whole lot better.
God.
I guess that's something.
Jesus.
For the full written review, head on over to IGN.com.
Man, they had the balls. They gave this a 4.5. 4.5. Wow. Okay. Oh, Black Knight. I think I might have seen this one. I'm not sure. I think I might have seen this one. But I might.
There's one word that really describes Sonic and the Black Knight, and that word is Gil. Yeah. It's actually a bit.
What the hell was that? What the hell? What? Huh? What was that sound?
Bit more of a guttural sound now that I think about it, so I'm glad you're going to get the full meaning from this video review. Gamers who grew up with Sonic have waited a long, long time for a true update to those classic games that were so fast and intense. And frankly, they're going to keep waiting. To be fair, though, Sega did come pretty close with Sonic Unleashed.
Wait, what reviewer is this? It's the same guy who reviewed Unleashed, or the Wii version of Unleashed. Okay.
And portions of that game were fast and furious, set in 3D, and they did harken back to those ideals established long ago. The problem, though, was that Sonic turned into a werehog at night, and that just wasn't any fun. I'll tell you what, though, I'll take those werehog missions any day of the week over the entire experience of Sonic and the Black Knight.
Damn! Really? I mean, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that, like, at all. But Sonic, like... But he does go fast in this game. Yes, the humans in this game, yeah, they definitely slow down. But you don't have to talk to them. It's not really mandatory. It's only in those one specific missions. But those don't really appear that much. So some of them, I think you can just skip. This game is it's not even that bad. I love this game, by the way. This is one of my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog games. This is in my, like, at least my top 10. I love Sonic and the Black Knight. I think it's a very good game. But this person is about to flame on it, and I could just tell.
A mishmash of boring, clunky game design that's going to leave you wondering what the...
What? Boring, clunky game design. Boring and clunky. I don't think this game is boring at all. I think it is, like... Okay, it's not as fast as Sonic Unleashed, even on the Wii, but it's still pretty decent for what it is. Well, the speed. You go pretty dang fast in this game.
What the hell happened to your favorite mascot? Black Knight is, of course, inspired by Sonic and the Secret Rings, a game set to the storybook settings of past, and this time around, you go back to the Knights of the Round Table.
Oh, yeah, they didn't review Secret Rings, but they reviewed this for some reason.
Armed with a sword, and you clash with King Arthur himself. Now, your first impression of this game might actually be good simply because it does have high production values, and they can trick you. There's a great variety of crisp, really well choreographed cutscenes, all rendered beautifully. Additionally, there are dozens of mid-level story sequences, all of them very, very stylized, and all of them brought to life with very well done voice work. Okay, it's actually a bit...
Okay, that's good. That's a good that's fair. That's a fair critique. Okay.
campy and it's a bit overbaked, but I can tell that a lot of effort went into it.
Yeah, but it's not over yet.
The title uses Wi-Fi connection for a full online leaderboard ranking system for most of the levels. There's even a fun treasury mode where you can collect items you've gained in the adventure mode and trade them with friends over Wi-Fi connection. On top of everything else, there's a welcome gallery mode where you can look at pieces of art from the development team or from fans, and there's also renders from the game, and there's even bios for your favorite characters.
Yeah, I loved this stuff. I think Sega really cares about their fans. They put out so many fan artwork from previous games, and I really loved that. I love this game. I really love this game. This is this is one of my favorites of the Dark Age. My favorite will be Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed is my favorite Sonic game of all time. It is my absolute favorite. I love Sonic Unleashed.
Definitely some great fan service going on, and it's all brought together by a great menu system that looks very stylized, like something right out of King Arthur's era.
Facts. Based. True. That's fair. Very fair. I agree. I agree.
And of course, those production values spill over into the game engine itself. This is one of the prettier games on Nintendo's system. The graphics look really good, really detailed, really stylized, and glowing with a host of visual effects.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is good. This is good. This is how you critique a review. This is how you critique a review.
Really nothing lazy at all about the game. It actually feels like a lot of work went into making the title. But as soon as you sit down and actually play it, you're going to want to kill yourself.
What? What? Are you serious? There is no way he said that. You're going to want to kill yourself.
But as soon as you sit down and actually play it, you're going to want to kill yourself.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that is so fucking brutal. You're gonna want to kill yourself. Are you kidding me? Sonic and the Black Knight out of all games? Really? Not anything else. Not like, I don't know, the notorious Ninja Bread Man or like, what? What? This isn't even the worst. I fucking crazy. Crazy. Insane they just said that.
There are two gameplay modes in Black Knight. There's the adventure, and that's the main single-player component. Then you have the battle mode, which is so impossibly bad, I'm only going to mention it for a second. Here, you and up to 3 friends compete in an arena-style battle against each other or against a group of enemies. And as you can see, the characters, even Sonic, move around like tanks, for no particular reason whatsoever. What you see here is what you get. It's dated design. It's painfully bold.
He really just made us like a adventure quote. What you see is what you get. Dated design. Okay, dated. Are you serious? You're comparing the mini game. Why are you even critiquing the mini games? Who cares? Data design too? Really? You're comparing this to the people who made like I just said, the Ninja Bread Man, Billy the Wizard, Ambius 2. All those horrendous video games on the Wii. And this came out way before them. This was 2009. Really? Fucking hell.
Boring, and you will hate it. Then there's
I actually had a lot of fun with this with my friend. Yeah, it was not very good, but I still had a lot of fun with it. I didn't really hate it.
adventure portion, which plays like a Sonic the Hedgehog game. If that is, you took out the speed, the loops, the corkscrews, the pinball mechanics, threw them out the window, threw a nuclear bomb on top of them, detonated that bomb, and then said, "Hey, Sonic."
What the fuck is this person on? What is this person doing? What is he doing? Can I even explain how bad this gameplay is?
As you took out the speed, the loops, the corkscrews, the pinball mechanics.
Okay, if it doesn't work the first time, you don't do it again. I know these bosses are incredibly easy, but you don't play the game like that. You don't play it like this. I get it, you don't know. But if you're bad at playing the game you don't understand, don't critique it like this.
Threw him out the window, threw a nuclear.
Why is he keeps doing the same thing? If it doesn't work the first time, don't do it the other times. This is so, oh my god.
Bomb on top of them, detonated that bomb, and then said, "Hey, Sonic, I want to give you this sword. I want you to walk around really slowly, and I want you to..."
Fucking dude. I thought the Unleash review was bad. This is worse. I mean, I get it. This gameplay is not really for everyone, but it's not that bad. What he's making it out to be like horrible.
Fight a whole lot of enemies. The results ain't pretty, and let me put it this way. There's not a single level in this entire package that's even 1/10 as good as any of the daytime missions in Sonic Unleashed.
That's fair. But still, what? I think that's fair. I like the daytime stages. But what are you looking for a Sonic game for? This was from Sonic and the Secret Rings. This is a spin-off. So of course it's going to use the same engine. And this is also the problem with IGN. This is reviewed by many different people. So many of these people are going to have different opinions on the franchise.
Unleashed. You're always at a dead stop fighting enemies, and it just happens endlessly. And these battles take place via waggle, not gestures, because gestures imply some sort of calculated measurement. None of that's going on here.
You do not play the game like this. They even taught you this in the tutorial, you brain dead idiot. You're supposed to home attack the enemies. You don't just wiggle waggle and like walk and run. You're supposed to home attack each enemy and slash all of them. That's called a combat swing. They taught you that in the tutorial. And he's not doing it. Wow. Just wow.
There's no vertical or horizontal slicing. It's just shake, 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 and win, win, win. The developer has thrown together one or two niceties, like a cinematic lock-on system that lets you string together combos.
He knows! He knows! He knows how to do it! He knows. But the gameplay that he's showing, he knows. He knows that you're supposed to do that. Yet, he oh my god. Oh. This sucks. This sucks, bro. This review is ass. This review sucks.
But you're not going to enjoy it that much because most of the time you're going to be bored battling enemy after enemy, fighting camera problems.
What? I had no camera problems in this. What are you on?
Fighting control issues. And just
control issues? The game is so on rails. Secret Rings. If you're saying control issues for Secret Rings, that's fine. I don't care. Shit on that game. But why this? This is miles better than Secret Rings.
It's not having a very good time. For all of these reasons and many more, I cannot recommend this game to anybody unless you fancy yourself an extremely diehard, nearly radical Sonic fan. And if you're one of those, well, you've already forgiven a bunch of bad games anyway. Why not add one more to your...
Fuck you. Fuck you. Actually, like, genuinely, like, wow. Fucking crazy, bro.
list? For the full written review, check out IGN.com.
Wow. Fuck you. Whoever reviewed this. Yeah, these dislikes, yes. Definitely deserve it. Secret Rings got a 6.9? No way. This is true. I agree. Exactly. Fair. Very. Yeah, honestly, I would give the game an 8.9. Yes, 2.4. 2.4. I would give this review. That is exactly what I honestly, as a huge Sonic fan, I would give this game an 8.5. Honestly, I would. The reason why I gave it a 9 is because I really love this game, and not only that, I also there's no decimal point. There's no decimal point, so I can't give it an 8.5. Or I wouldn't give it an 8.5. I would give it like an 8.9. Somewhere there. Or 8.8. 8.8. No, I would give it an 8.8. Or yeah. Yeah. I would give it that. Wow, bro. All right, let's see what this review is. I've never seen this one.
You know, by now, kart racing should be its own genre. It all started with Nintendo's Mario Kart, and ever since that game, nearly every publisher has tried to clone that experience with their own characters. Nintendo still remains the king of the kart racer, but Sega's entry, developed by Sumo Digital, comes really close. There's nothing all that original about this racer, but it is a lot of fun with tons of single and multiplayer modes. The game is called Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. And with a title like that, you shouldn't be surprised to find out that the game is a Mario Kart-style racer, but with Sega characters instead of Nintendo ones. But Sega's game doesn't stick with just Sonic. It's a lot like Nintendo's fighter Smash Brothers, where it takes...
Alex Kidd is in this game? I've got to buy this game on the Wii. Or maybe on the Wii. I don't know. Maybe on the X. Yeah, I think I should buy on the Xbox. Because, I mean, I got to use my Xbox for something.
Characters and locations from other games in the company's backlog. Games like Super Monkey Ball, Jet Grind Radio, House of the Dead, and Samba de Amigo are represented here. Even little-seen games like Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg get lots of screen time. There are about 8 racers from the start, but as you drive through the challenges, you'll earn money to buy a dozen more. The Xbox 360 version of the game has an added bonus, Banjo-Kazooie as a playable character. You can also race as your avatar, which is a lot like the Wii version where you can select your Mii character. Sorry, PS3 owners, no exclusives for you. But other than the extra...
That was good. That was good. Honestly, that was probably the best joke in the entirety of the IGN I've ever heard. That was funny.
Racers in the Xbox 360 and Wii versions, all editions are virtually identical. And that includes all the gameplay modes, achievements, and online features. The Wii version is the least pretty of the bunch, but that's only because the game is running at a lower resolution on the non-HD capable Nintendo.
Yo! Who is this guy? This guy is speaking facts. Wow. Based.
Console. But on the Wii, you have the ability to choose the Wii Wheel, Nunchuck, or Classic Controller to fit your tastes, just like in Mario Kart. Probably my biggest hang-up with All-Star Racing is its sluggish frame rate. The graphics are outstanding, but the 3D engine has a hard time maintaining consistently smooth motion. This kills a bit of the sense of speed. It's not a game breaker because of the fun action, it's just hard to ignore when the flow starts to get...
That's fair. Yo, get these reviewers on board of this, like, for real. This is good. This is based. This is a good, like, critique.
Copy. The gameplay is pure action racing, and it is definitely inspired by Mario Kart. It shares a lot of similarities, right down to the drifting and boosting, to the weapons you use to fight off your opponents. A lot of the same strategies apply, like the ability to fight off an incoming...
I would probably give this game like a 7 or a 7.5. Maybe a 7.5, or no, it's, I don't know what I would give it. I don't know. I would give it a 7.5, yeah.
Attacked by dropping items in their way. I can honestly say there's very little in the action that Sega's Racer does differently to Mario Kart, but if you're going to copy a design, you might as well clone the best there is. It's a very tight racer with great control. The track designs in All-Star Racing are excellent. They're all loads of fun to race on in both the multiplayer and in the time trial solo modes. Each track is based on a Sonic game or a classic Sega franchise, and each has a fair share of shortcuts, jumps, and wild turns. Some even go upside down and through wild corkscrews.
Verdict. All right, let's see what it is.
I'll still recommend Mario Kart over Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing for Nintendo gamers. Mario Kart did it first and still does it better. However, Sega's Racer is still a very enjoyable game. It's even better for 360 and PS3 owners since there are very few great kart racing options on those systems. Overall, I'm giving this racer a hearty...
Whoa, an 8? Wow. Okay. He's not wrong, though. No, I don't think it's... I think he's right about the Mario Kart stuff. I definitely agree. It is... I wouldn't call it... No, he's right. It is kind of... It's not like a full-on copy. It's not like a copycat, but it is kind of like a clone in a way. He's not wrong. This is why I prefer Riders way more. But I wouldn't give it an 8. I think 8's fair for what it is. But this, I definitely agree with. I definitely agree. Okay, next one. Sonic 4. Man, I fucking hate this game. I just really hate this game. I hate it.
It's been a long and often unforgiving road for Sega.
No, it's the Unleash guy. Oh no, we're in for a treat.
Sega's mascot over the past decade. After a number of miscues on consoles, Sega stepped into the Wayback Machine and returned to a time when Sonic was platforming king. Part remake, part sequel, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Part 1 recreates 4 zones from the original Genesis game, but adds enough bells and whistles to make it feel like something new. Breathe easy, Sonic fans. Sega got this one right.
No, they did not. Okay, in context, this was way after the other stuff like Mania and all that, and hasn't aged well. But no, this is just the most cheapest, the laziest, cash grabby Sonic game ever made. And I hate it. I don't like it at all.
Sonic is back, baby!
Shut the God, this guy.
Dr. Robotnik is up to no good again, and it's up to Sonic to take him down. You'll chase down Dr. Robotnik through 4 zones, each made up of 3 acts and a boss battle, plus a final boss battle stage that really tests your skills. If the stages look familiar, well, they are. These are all areas inspired by the original Sonic game, but once you get past the Splash Hill...
This is my main issue with Sonic 4. I think if it was called Sonic 1, like remake, this would be fine. I would actually kind of like this game. But that's not even my problem with it, too. The music is also okay. Yeah, I know. The music does suck. It kind of does suck. But some of the tracks are actually, I can tell that there was... You know what's crazy? I like the music in Sonic 4 way more than Superstar. I actually do not like Superstar's soundtrack. I think I'm mixed. I think Superstar's soundtrack is half amazing, half like mediocre. I don't like Jun Sonoe's I think he did the Sith way worse than Superstars. I think Sonic 4 he actually tried to make them like great tunes, and he did. Have you ever heard like Lost Labyrinth Act 3? Actually sounds good. I'm being serious. It is the only like original Sonic like music in Sonic 4 that actually sounds pretty good. And everything else I think sounds like fine, except for Metal Gear Zone. I think it sounds like ass. But everything else sounds fine. Like Splash Hill Zone is kind of has charm. Okay, for 2D fans, you're not gonna like this game at all. Because of it is insulting. It's a cash grab, don't give a crap kind of game that they just put in there and said, Sonic 4 available on PS3 and Xbox 360 and Wii War. It's just a cash grab. They didn't give a shit. And also to make it an episodic 2, like really? Why? Also, yes, I do think episode 2 is way better. Improves on like everything that this game had flaws within.
Zone, there are a lot of changes from the old Sonic. The Lost Labyrinth has areas where you carry a torch, searching in the dark for the exit and lighting dynamite to blow up obstacles. The amazing Casino Street has playing cards that flip over as you run past them. These make poker-style hands that earn you bonuses as you zip through the level. Robotnik's Mad Gear Zone has giant gears you have to run across to open new passageways. And back are the special stages.
Okay, oh yeah, this is another thing I like. I actually like the bonus stage in this game more than the bonus stage in Sonic. The reason why I don't like the bonus stage in Sonic 1 because controlling Sonic in the bonus stage of Sonic 1, I don't like it. I much prefer like controlling the board,
which have Sonic free falling through a level.
Wait, do you control the board? No, okay. So Sonic 1, the original, the board moves by itself. This game, you move the board. Yeah, I like that more.
That you're rotating as he makes his way to collecting a Chaos Emerald. Though the art style is similar to the old Genesis game, the visuals have been upgraded for modern day. This is one pretty Sonic game. The low.
I mean, the background looks pretty fine. No. No, I don't think it looks like... I think it looks okay. It does look... Sonic, honestly, is the only thing I really don't like. I don't like how Sonic looks bad. Sonic looks bad. He looks cheap. He looks cheaply made.
Levels have a nice amount of detail and bright colors that really pop off the screen. The music is suitably Sonic, that is, cheesy, but catchy. If things look familiar, that's because very little has changed in terms of gameplay. Sonic still runs, leaps, and bonks his way to victory. All the old power-ups like super speed and vulnerability and the bubble shield are back and work just as they did when Sonic first raced into the homes and hearts of gamers everywhere. The only significant change is the addition of a lock-on targeting system. You can now easily target an enemy or a bumper and fly straight at it. This isn't just for fun, it's required to get past some parts of Sonic. It's a change, but it doesn't ruin anything.
Okay, you know what? I would be more forgiving on this game. I don't think it's awful. Okay. I think for 2D fans, yeah, this is pretty bad. This is awful. But for me, I kind of see potential in it. I kind of see potential. If it wasn't like modern Sonic, I think modern Sonic is fine. But my one issue is, why call it Sonic 4 when you're just reusing things from Sonic 1? Just call it Sonic 1 Remaster or Remake. That would be like less insulting, you know? Or just like I don't know. Or like Sonic 1 Adventure, I don't know. Like Sonic 1 Remake.
I guess if you're a purist, you're going to hate this. But really, if you're a purist, just go play the port of the original game. The original Sonic the Hedgehog was one of my
That's kind of fair. That is kind of fair.
favorite games. Going back and giving the old feel and controls was a perfect decision by Sega.
No, I don't agree. I don't think this game does not control. I think it controls. I don't like it. I don't like the way this game controls. That's another issue I have with it. The physics are messed up. You literally walk on the fucking wall. They're messed up. I don't like the controls.
It's the Sonic game I've been waiting for. Now, maybe it's because I spent so many hours of my youth playing Sonic the Hedgehog, but Sonic 4 is a breeze. The game is pretty easy, with only some moderate challenges in the first 4 zones. Even the once annoying water sequences are designed to make it fairly easy to survive without running out of air. Things change with the final boss stage though, which I won't spoil by showing, but it's unfairly long and difficult in comparison to the rest of the game. An odd spike and challenge that just seems out of place. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 doesn't do anything new. Instead, it takes a step back to a time when Sonic was awesome. I would like to have been able to bring a friend along to play as Tails and experience the old Sonic levels in a new way in co-op.
What? No. This is not an 8. Classic Sonic. I don't get it. I wouldn't even care if they gave it a 7 and 8. Exactly.
Back, baby!
Oh my god.
Sonic's had
Okay, Sonic Colors. All right.
it rough for years. After his gold
Oh my god. Why? I hate when Sonic's had a rough transition into 3D. Like, I don't get it. If Sonic has had a rough transition to 3D, then why has gameplay like? If Sonic has a rough transition to 3D, then why has Sonic been like a brand for so long? It even had a game with Mario like so many times in the Olympics, and that was definitely a success. Like, come on.
there on the Sega Genesis, Sega's had a hard time finding their footing with the Blue Fur mascot. They put out games that have ranged from terrible to less terrible-ish, really.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
He's had something of a renaissance in 2010, though, starting with the better-than-expected Sonic All-Stars Racing earlier this year and Sonic 4 Episode 1 last month. And now, with Sonic Colors, Sega has saved what might be the best for last. The first truly modern-feeling Sonic game. And all they had to do was take some lessons from platformers past to do it. Sonic Colors is simply one of the best looking Wii games of the year, full of
Fair. I agree.
vivid color, super detailed backgrounds, and excellent animation. It's also the best Sonic has ever looked. Sonic Colors takes place in a bizarre interstellar amusement park created by Eggman, by enslaving alien creatures called wisps and chaining their planet and several others to a space station. This has given the developers the excuse to create a huge amount of visual variety in Sonic Colors, from a casino-inspired tropical resort to a crazy space elevator. Sonic Colors also has some of the best music the series has seen since Sonic 2 on the
Sonic 2 on the Genesis? What about Sonic Adventure 2? Sonic Hero, Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed. I mean, I agree though. Sonic Colors is one of the best soundtracks in the entirety of Sonic Colors.
Genesis. More importantly, though, the cast of characters has been greatly reduced, refocusing attention primarily on Sonic and Tails, and the story is better for it. Sega has also completely changed the
Better? No, I don't agree with that at all. I think the story is mid. Very mid. No copyright law in the universe is gonna stop me. I think it's mid as shit. I think after Colors, like, the stories went, like, down the shitter.
series voice cast. I haven't been this not irritated by a Sonic game story since he started speaking, and that
Bro, really? Really? Like, oh my god, this is so fucking irritating.
it's an achievement.
That's an achievement, huh? Baldy nose hair? That doesn't irritate you? Even though they say it for, like, Lost World and every single... Whatever.
More impressive than Sonic Colors' presentation, though, is the evolution seen in its gameplay. Sonic Colors starts by establishing better physics that lend themselves to much tighter, more precise control. The game isn't just homing attacks and holding forward anymore. Sonic Colors does an excellent job of mixing together the crazy spectacle we've grown used to with some really well-designed platforming that surprisingly evokes some of Sonic's well-known competition. A chubby red plumber with a red M on his hat comes to mind.
I agree, but I think the 2D was a lot. I still prefer the Unleashed level design. And I don't even mind Black Knight's level design. But Unleashed is extremely good. I think this level design is fine. It works for a Sonic game. It's not the bare minimum, but it works. It's fine. It's not bad. It's good. It's good level design. I agree. It's not incredible, but I like it. I like the levels. I love Aquarium Park, Tropical Coast, and Planet Wisp, and everything else. And Asteroid Coaster. Asteroid Coaster is very good. Terminal Velocity was also very good too.
The big addition here are the Wisps. Each color of Wisp grants Sonic a different temporary power. Yellow Wisps gives Sonic the ability to drill through soft ground, for example, while Cyan Wisps...
This one I liked. The yellow drill is what... I don't like this one a lot, but yellow drill is good.
let Sonic turn into a laser that bounces off surfaces and more. There are 8 colors in all, and almost all...
This one goes really fucking fast if you roll, like really fast. This one is utilized way better than Generations. I don't know how they messed up that badly in Generations.
All of them add interesting quirks to Sonic's basic gameplay. With these new abilities comes generally fantastic level design that will often test even the most dedicated fan of platformers. Though sometimes this challenge is actually a little too much. Later in the game, I ran into a number of ridiculous difficulty spikes that had me throwing my Wiimote and nunchuck across my desk.
But why show that clip? Like, come on.
Sections like this are Sonic Colors' main problem. Unlike other major platformers this generation, you'll need to finish every...
That was a skill issue. I'm sorry, bro. That was a skill issue. Like, just... Really? I mean, I died to that too a little bit, but still, you need to practice. Just practice the levels.
Stage in each world in order to progress there. You're going to have to suck it up and deal with the frustration, and there are points where the game just isn't fun anymore.
Isn't fun? I mean, he's not entirely wrong in a way, in a strange way. I kind of see like a little bit of it, but not fun anymore? What?
This is really too bad, because otherwise, Sonic Colors has some of the best replay value of any game in the series.
Replay. What about Unleashed?
As you gain access to new Wisp abilities later in the game, you can go back to earlier levels and use them to find entirely new paths. And the myriad of red rings hidden in each stage unlock a number of challenge levels that can be played cooperatively with a friend. I'll be honest though, the co-op isn't great. It's much more confusing and frustrating than it is fun. One screen is not enough for two Sonics. Sonic Colors is a dizzying combination of the distantly familiar memories you have of the first few Sonic games, combined with thoughtful level design and excellently implemented new power-up abilities. It's one of the biggest surprises of the year. As a blueprint for
8.5. No, I think it's, I guess, fair, but I would not give it an 8.5. I would give it an 8. I think Sonic Colors is a great game. I think it definitely has beautiful graphics. I think it has good level design, not great. I think it has good level design. I didn't really think it was that difficult though. Not really for what it is. It's not really that difficult.
For the future of Sonic, Colors delivers and then some. For more on Sonic Colors, check out IGN.com.
Okay. Yeah. I like the DS port way more than the original. I would give this one like maybe a 9 actually. Maybe a 9. Maybe I will give it maybe I'll give it a 9.
Sonic is one of gaming's biggest mascots, but he's had a rough track record over the last decade.
Oh, why start it with that though? What, like anything? You could say anything about Sonic. Why say Sonic has had a rough track record of that? Sonic has had a rough transition in 3D. Like, it's the same shit. Like, come on.
That's all set to change in 2010, though, with Sonic 4, Sonic Colors Wii, and for portable fans, Sonic Colors on DS. This could be Sonic's best portable adventure ever.
That's fair, though. I agree.
Sonic Colors DS looks like a modern version of the Genesis games, complete with overworld.
Bro. If you were talking about the Wii, that's fine. But have you forgot about Rush? That really good game, you know?
Hubs and acts that we expect. The occasional animated cutscene looks fantastic, which is a stark contrast to the cheesy still shot story sequences that happen after each level. Still, this is what fans have wanted out of a Sonic game for years, complete with the insane sense of speed we loved when we were kids. Combine this with the crazy level design, and each level is a thrilling flurry of sound and visual spectacle. Sonic Colors plays like a classic 2D Sonic game, but the twist is in the title. Sonic gains access to various color-based powers.
All because it's fucking 2D, bro.
Enabling him to turn himself.
You know what's crazy? I think they have more of appreciation for 2D than they have for 3D. All these Sonic reviewers have a bias against the 2D games, the fucking 2D classic games. That's why they gave Sonic 4 Episode 1 an 8.
Into a laser, a drill, a movable explosion, a rocket, and a black hole. The levels do a great job of mixing in traditional Sonic platforming with areas where you have to use these unique powers. They also add a lot of replayability. You can go back to earlier levels and use your powers to reach previously inaccessible areas. Additional gameplay elements also keep the game interesting for hours. Boss battles are generally clever and great looking. In addition to the regular story levels, there are also objective-based missions that offer different goals and are fun for a moment, and the special stages add some welcome variety. Multiplayer is also a fun distraction, offering races through levels both local.
I loved the bonus stage in this game when I was a kid. I really did. There was something about it that I really liked.
locally and over Wi-Fi. My one real complaint is that the latter portions of the game feel overly difficult, with a ton of spots that will kill you outright. This is especially annoying since when you run out of lives, you have to start a level at the beginning. Be prepared to try and try again, because you will fail. Sonic Colors DS is a great portable Sonic experience, and easily one of the best Sonic games to ever be released. It's fast, fun, and thoroughly entertaining from start to finish. The occasional difficulty
That's fair. I think this is fair.
spikes and bad continue system are frustrating, but certainly not enough to make this anything less than highly recommended. For more information on Sonic Colors DS, go to IGN.com.
Okay, Sonic Generations.
Is it safe to say Sonic is good again?
Yes.
Seems like the last 2 years have seen numerous fun titles starring the Hedgehog. It's almost enough to make you forget about Werehogs and that time Sonic tried LARPing.
LARPing? Bro. Oh my gosh.
He's like the Mickey Rourke of video games. Sure, it looked like he was totally dead for a while, but now he's back and we're ready to love him again. So how does Sega explain two Sonics? With time paradoxes, of course. A big purple monster thing steals all of Sonic's friends and dumps him into limbo,
A big purple monster thing.
where he meets his past self.
Bro.
In order to restore time and space, the Sonics have to relive moments from their past and run really, really fast, because that fixes time somehow. The entire game is an homage to the franchise, full of in-jokes, familiar locales, and characters. I don't want to spoil the story too much, but if you ever thought, I wish my Sonic game had 100% more Tails the Fox in it, then you're in luck. Everything in Sonic Generations looks good while you're in motion. Like a racing game, it's designed to be sped past quickly. The layered backgrounds and vistas are nice, but this isn't a game to stop and admire the textures. And if you love Sonic's modern, vocal-fueled soundtrack, why?
What? Huh? Why? What do you mean? City Escape. Live and learn. Open your heart. His world. Endless possibility. Sonic Heroes. My World to Fight the Night. Night of the Wind. All those incredible. You're telling me you don't like any of those vocal tracks? That is crazy.
New arrangements for the game's iconic tracks are awesome, but I'm most grateful that the game lets you change songs in the levels. There are only so many times you can hear City Escape before you want to kill yourself.
What? How? City Escape is goated. It's always some way. It's always some way to make fun of Sonic. It's always some way to give it a bad score. They always have to say something about it. The gameplay, it's so amazing, but then they have to say something bad about it. Like, let me see the comments. You could never see. Fucking hell, dude.
Every major stage in Sonic Generations has two acts: classic, side-scrolling Sonic, and modern 3D homing attack Sonic. Essentially, half of the game is Sonic 4, and the other half is Sonic Colors. Both types
I mean, I get what he's saying, but whatever.
of levels are fun, and your preference will likely depend on the year you were born and if you even remember Sonic before he could spin dash. The old school platforming and the more modern, almost racing game levels fit together nicely, though there are still the occasional moments of clunky controls that can stop the action dead. What's great is that every level is a recreation of a level from a previous game. It's what makes this whole game so cool. And of course, there are boss battles. You'll fight familiar bosses and rivals like Perfect Chaos and Metal Sonic. They're fun, but they feel a bit lackluster compared to boss battles of the past and the overall epicness of the game. There are also challenge missions for each world that mix up the gameplay. Most are cool, but a few of them, usually the ones starring Sonic's dumb friends, are annoying. Thankfully, they're
Really? Come on. Like, really, dude? God.
almost completely optional, so you can just play the good ones. Sonic Generations is a love letter to the Blue Blur, a Sonic game for Sonic fans. It seems like Team Sonic finally listened to the fan base and took everything that didn't suck about the last 2 decades of Sonic and put it in one game. The levels are great.
8.5. The same. Same as Colors. I don't agree. Sometimes clunky. Few bosses. I think they had fine bosses. I thought this was a bad review, actually. I thought it was really disrespectful. Oh, shit. This is not going to be good. I don't like this game, though. I'm just going to point it out. I do not like this game. I think it's mediocre. It's a lot of things that just don't make it very good.
Much like a good sports car receives praise for the predictability of its grip and braking performance, the best 3D platformers provide predictable jumping and movement to create a sense of rhythm and control. While the Sonic the Hedgehog games of the past have almost always understood this, Sonic Lost World does not, making the Blue Blur's latest outing a clumsy, ungainly 3D platformer that doesn't do Sega's mascot justice.
Yo! Hella based. Based. That. Wow. Holy shit. Let's go.
To its credit, Lost World does look the part. The frame rate is hard locked at a smooth 60, and the visual motifs of each distinct world feel appropriately Sonic. From the traditional Green Hill style opening to the beach and casino themed areas, almost every level recalls a well-loved stage from Sonic's past. Colors are well saturated, but occasionally flat looking, lacking the depth and vibrancy I look for in a palette this varied. Though it subdues Lost World's look ever so slightly, it certainly doesn't keep it from being pleasant to look at. Sonic Lost World is a strange sort of design feat where no one thing is broken, but a perfect storm of subtle tuning decisions throw a monkey wrench into the works. The most immediately apparent issue is how controlling Sonic feels.
Yes! Yes. Facts. Exactly. The main issue with this game, not only does it have inconsistent level design, which I don't give a shit, but the way Sonic feels, he does not feel good. He does not feel very good. He feels okay, but in the cave levels, in some of the 3D levels, he feels like ass. He does not feel good. He feels very, very sluggish.
He doesn't really accelerate the way he has in the past. Instead, moving the left stick puts him directly into a leisurely jog that feels more Italian plumber than Blue Hedgehog.
Based. This is based. Very good. That is a really good critique.
And even when you depress the right trigger to dash, his speed feels lacking. I never
Yes, true.
felt like the speed demon I wanted to be. As underwhelming as I found Sonic's speed on the ground, I was floored by how sharply it dropped off in midair. Leaps fall far short of what I expected based on my running speed, so I had to rely on the double jump, which returns here from Sonic Colors, to ford even the smallest looking gaps. Wall running is now a common way for Sonic to get around as well, but again, his speed here is painfully lacking. A new
Fair. Yeah, I agree.
secondary lock-on attack has you homing in on foes and punting them forward to clear out their buddies, but whenever you use it, everything jerks to a halt,
Yeah.
interrupting your flow of movement. At nearly every opportunity, Lost World got between me and the speed I craved. The Super Mario Galaxy-inspired level designs compound these problems. Sure, they open up some welcome possibilities for exploration, but inserting light puzzles and placing much of the 3D landscape on cylinders and spheres necessitates a bunch of lateral movement, which is directly at odds with my natural hedgehog instinct to speed towards the horizon. Even the 2D sections lack the rhythm and cohesion the franchise is known for.
Exactly.
The same awkward jumping and sluggish movement carry over, exacerbated by the fact that
this game is so sluggish. Super sluggish. Sonic controls like ass in this game. Ass. He does not control. Honestly, it's not. Okay. Sonic 4, I think the physics were really bad, but he actually carried more momentum. It's crazy. Sonic carried actual momentum in Sonic 4 than he did in this game. And that's crazy. I know there's a run button. I know you can spin dash. But who plays the game like that? He doesn't go for it. He still painfully lacks the speed. And the inconsistent level design doesn't help with this problem.
that Sonic has a tendency to wall run on any vertical surface he's near while airborne. Brief, scripted moments attempt to convey Sonic's speed, but these mostly amount to mini cutscenes that take control out of your hands. A handful of levels did manage to get out of my way long enough to build up some legitimate speed.
I like this
but for
level.
the most part, I was stuck watching Sonic go fast rather than making him go fast.
Yes.
Finally, the main villains put up some of the most boring fights in the series' history.
Yo, let's go. Why aren't you reviewing any single Sonic game? You are based as hell. Oh my god.
While spouting winners like this.
I've been dreaming about pounding his sorry blue butt.
And don't get me started on
Oh, funniest shit ever. I've been beating and pounding his sorry blue butt. Fucking so wacky and crazy. God. It's like, I like the presentation, visuals, and the music. I think the music is the best part in the game, obviously. But the level design is just so goddamn inconsistent when it doesn't need to be.
Lost World's Ice Act. Having Sonic spent an entire level as a giant snowball to slip and slide slowly and uncontrollably across narrow ledges is the exact opposite of fun.
Does this mean no dessert?
After the success of Sonic 4, Colors, and Generations, this is a big disappointment for Sega's speeding Blue Bullet. Sonic Lost World clumsily tears all the wrong pages out of the Super Mario Galaxy playbook, and in so doing, loses the breathless speed and fluidity that makes a Sonic game a Sonic game.
Yo, I 100% agree with every single thing in this review. This is the only IGN review where I'm like, yep, facts. 5.8, mediocre. Smooth performance, poor level design, yes. Lack speed, awkward controls. This is how you do a review. This is it. This is the review. This is one of the best IGN reviews ever made. And this is the best Sonic IGN review. I don't like this game. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I wouldn't really come back to it. But this is exactly how to describe Sonic Lost World perfectly. And the dislikes is crazy.
Sonic games have often struggled with providing the
I agree with
speed and
everything from that
excitement
review,
implied
though.
by the series' namesake
while accommodating meaningful and rewarding exploration. But Sonic Boom Fire and Ice admirably accomplishes both goals. You can blaze through one section.
So I never really played this game. I only played it as a kid, but never really went back to it since I haven't seen it in the stores. So I couldn't pick it up.
Springboarding off enemies and swinging across pits and rapid-fire sequences, but at almost any moment, you're free to veer off and indulge your curiosity by discovering hidden challenges and collectibles. During the pinball-inspired bumper and loop sections, you never know when a quick reaction will be necessary. You may be called upon to target a foe, swing over an expanse, or utilize your fire and ice powers to clear a barrier at a second's notice. Occasionally, that speed works against you, when unseen dangers come barreling in from off-screen a little too quickly. But this is rare, and Fire and Ice helps compensate with generous checkpoints. With so much going on so quickly, there's thankfully little time to notice how dull your surroundings are. While the stages creatively combine exploratory and arcade action elements, they're aesthetically forgettable, with generic themes and few truly memorable moments. Most enemies are unremarkable, serving mostly as speed bumps or liftoff points for jumps. The music is aggressively bland. Eventually, I preferred playing with the sound off.
Wow.
Sonic's friends are also along for the ride, and you can switch between them at will. Each has a useful special power to contribute, but they're rarely essential. Every member of Team Sonic also has the power to switch between Fire Mode, used to
That's cool.
pass through some obstacles, and Ice Mode, freezing water to create new platforms. The elemental mechanic is a neat idea, but doesn't prove a game-defining innovation. I'd hope to see some clever Ikaruga-inspired timing challenges or puzzles, but most of the time, the fire and ice switching is confined to reactions as new dangers scroll onto the screen or used to add a dash of flavor to boss battles. A few mandatory race courses sprinkled in for variety's sake aren't particularly difficult, but they're unremarkable enough I would have welcomed the chance to skip them. Boss fights are simple, engaging affairs and make good use of both DS screens to create a vertical battleground.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of like this. It reminds me of the Rush formula, the Rush games.
And I enjoyed all of them. While Fire and Ice's world and environments are drab and generic, there's still a lot of enjoyment to be found here.
Wow. 7.5. Yeah, I kind of heard this game was fine. The critics are here. Wow. Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania is
I
a
love
retro
Sonic
flavored
Mania.
romp, taking direct inspiration from the 16-bit games that originally propelled Sonic and Friends to superstardom. It's proof that no matter how much time passes, great gameplay is always in style. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are back to fight Eggman's forces the best way they know how, running, jumping, spin dashing, flying, and gliding their way to victory across 12 zones. You'll see classic zones from Genesis-era Sonic games, like Chemical Plant, Stardust Speedway, and Lava Reef, alongside all new areas like Studiopolis and Mirage Saloon. But even the old zones are packed with plenty of new tricks. They're bigger, more elaborate, and filled with traps and gimmicks, both old and new, that tickle your nostalgia bone and leave you totally wowed. Sonic Mania is a feast of classic 2D art. Reworked Sonic stages look more beautiful than ever before, packed with color and dazzling visual flourishes, while the new zones' art style meshes perfectly with the iconic look of classic Sonic. Everything has more detail and animation than ever before, giving Sonic and Friends, along with their enemies, a lot of personality despite zero dialogue. The soundtrack is also top-notch, packed with remixes of classic Sonic tunes alongside all new compositions.
Yep, I agree. What?
Gameplay wise, Sonic Mania has all the crucial elements that go into making a great Sonic adventure. Big, elaborate stages, responsive controls and movement physics, interesting and engaging gimmicks, lots of hidden nooks and crannies to discover, and tricky hazards that challenge you to stay alert and act fast. I love replaying many of these stages over and over, learning more about their flow and design and improving my play every time I revisit them. And you will have to replay these stages a fair bit, because there are numerous hidden special levels you'll need to conquer to collect the Chaos Emeralds and see Sonic Mania's true ending. In special stages, you chase a UFO through a 3D landscape by collecting speed-enhancing blue spheres and rings. It's a fun concept, but these stages do have problems. It can be tough to see barriers that block your way on the ground, and collision detection on some objects seems off. You'll probably need to try quite a few times before you get all those emeralds. Also returning are bonus stages from Sonic 3, which don't unlock emeralds, but do unlock bonus features in the game upon completion. They start out easy, but you'll soon find them becoming very tricky, and doing all the stages perfectly will take quite a bit of time and practice. As great as Sonic Mania is, it does make a couple of missteps. The developers have done their best to pack a lot of nostalgia into the game, but it's really the new elements of Sonic Mania that are the most memorable and exciting.
Based.
And I would have liked more focus.
This is based. I think this is really true. True. Very true. The original stuff I like better. I really do like the original stuff that they did with this game.
Focus on those. Chances are that if there was something you saw in an old Sonic game, it's in Sonic Mania somewhere. Even if it wasn't a particularly good element of an old Sonic game. For example, it's neat to see a callback to Sonic 2's Sky Chase Zone.
Yeah, I didn't like this. And I never really liked it in Sonic 2. Well, I mean, I thought it was okay, but like this just kind of... I liked getting on the train. Getting on the train was like... It was great.
Let's face it, the forced auto-scrolling and wonky controls in Sky Chase Zone were not very fun then. And they're still not great now.
Right. True.
And while the game's boss fights are generally pretty cool, some of them, like the Studiopolis mid-boss, have a tendency to drag. I know old Sonic games didn't have checkpoints between multiple bosses, but it wouldn't have hurt to add them to Sonic Mania. Still, even when Sonic Mania stumbles a bit, it's just little speed bumps in the road. It doesn't take long before you're enjoying yourself again, eagerly anticipating what sort of wacky wonders the game will throw at you next. It truly is a classic throwback longtime series fans have been clamoring for. But there's plenty to love here even if you didn't grow up with a Genesis. Sonic Mania is a stellar example of a retro revival done right.
That's fair. This is a fair review. All right, let's see what comments have to say. Okay, it's just the Sonic Win is never a good thing. Oh no! I hate Forces. I hate this game. Just the most insulting Sonic the Hedgehog game I've ever played in my life, and it's one of the worst Sonic games ever made. That's just my opinion.
The unthinkable has happened. Sonic has been defeated, and Dr. Eggman is conquering the planet. The only one who can put things right is your custom-made character with some help from some old-school Sonics. The premise behind Sonic Forces sounds like an amazing mix for a Sonic game, but its inconsistent level design leaves it just a few steps short.
Based. True. I agree. It does have so many inconsistent level design flaws.
So they're building weapons here, huh? Making everyone work like robots. It'll be Eggman's turn to get pushed around when I get a hold of him.
The character creation is one of Sonic Force's best features, and it feels great to be able to live out a childhood Sega fan dream of making your own Sonic character. You pick their species, customize their look, and dress them up in all kinds of fashion, from stylish to downright odd. Seeing your creation do wild stunts alongside Sonic and his friends is endearing. There are 3 types of stages in Forces, all of which have great visual design and are set to a stellar soundtrack that combines Sonic remixes, 16-bit throwbacks, and cheesy late 90s pop rock. Modern and classic Sonic stage types have you controlling those respective characters, using their unique playstyles to run through a mix of 2D and 3D levels. If you're coming off of Sonic Mania, the physics here will take a bit of getting used to, as they don't feel anywhere near as smooth. On top of that, the frequent momentum changes and hazard-laden stage designs mean that every so often you're going to find yourself taking a hit you
True. Very true. Very, very true. And you're showing gameplay like this? Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
couldn't react to, or running straight into a pit. At least it's nowhere near as unfair as games like the notorious Sonic 2006. But overall,
What? What is even the comparison?
the stages feel inconsistent. You'll have a few good runs with a lot of cool gimmicks, followed by one with a focus on finicky platforming and bad hazards.
True. This is true. I agree.
All of the stages are on the shorter side, and there's no limited number of lives to worry about, so a lousy death due to questionable design every so often is a lot less rage-inducing than it could be. The third type of stages have you controlling your avatar character, who uses a special gun called a Wispin to harness different kinds of wisp energy. Lightning gives you a supercharged electric whip and lets you zoom through strings of rings and enemies when powered up, while the drill sends you charging in a straight line to attack and lets you burrow into the ground. The Wispin you equip can greatly affect the way you go through stages, and it's fun to go back to previous levels and find hidden secrets and earn more gear by using a new loadout.
Oh my god, this level sucked ass. I hated every fiber of this level. So janky and bad.
But a lot of potential for interesting stage design goes unrealized.
Exactly. Potential in level design is lost because of finicky movement or just bad corridor level design.
Thanks to the short length of the stages. Plus,
and also the short length, which is bad.
Classic Sonic's presence here seems like an afterthought since he appears in only a handful.
Oh my god, Classic Sonic in this was so fucking bad. So bad. I hated Classic Sonic in this. Hated it.
Full of levels that are over far too quickly. Amazingly, the boss battles, which tend to be a fairly weak element to most Sonic games, are actually quite good in Forces.
No. No! No! I don't agree. I mean, this boss fight was fine, and the final boss is pretty good, but everything else is just eh.
They're challenging but not overly long, and feature some stunning backdrops like this fight among the winding coils of a giant snake.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff is pretty cool.
The problem is that there aren't enough of them to make them a big reason to play Forces. And that's part of the overall problem. Sonic Forces feels like it's ramping up to become something amazing, with an epic battle between Sonic's friends and Eggman's army, but both the story and the gameplay just wind up fizzling out toward the end of the 5 or 6 hour campaign. After that, you can replay levels to improve your scores, rescue other players' avatars, and unlock a handful of hidden challenge stages to earn loot, but it still feels like there's a fair bit of wasted potential. More levels and more big, exciting boss fights would have gone a long way. On top of the joy of creating and playing as your own character, there's a lot of goofy charm that makes Sonic Forces hard to be too disappointed with. The graphics are colorful and engaging, and the music is a pumping backdrop for extreme team-ups, super speed cinematics, and lots of ruminations on the power of friendship. Several of its stages even have some good ideas and replayability, and there are a couple of surprisingly strong
He's not wrong.
boss fights, but it doesn't build on its handful of
6.9
good ideas much, and it screeches to a halt just as it seems to hit its stride.
6.9. I would not give 6.9 to Forces. And the reason why they gave this review, this critique, is because of the Sonic was never a good thing, which we will get to. But man, I would give this game a 5. I think it's mediocre as shit. Yeah, I agree. What?
For more on Sonic Forces, check out our video of the first 14 minutes of gameplay and us messing around with the character creator. And for everything else Sonic the Hedgehog, keep it right here on IGN, where everyone loves Sonic.
No. No, 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 no. That is not after these videos. No, no, no. That is not true. Wow. They really had the balls to say that. Wow.
The new Sega Genesis Classics collects 53 little pieces of our childhood. It's a good selection, featuring a variety of absolute bangers like Sonic the Hedgehog and Streets of Rage, and some cult favorites like Shining Force and Landstalker. Some glaring holes in the lineup prevent it from feeling...
Wait, what is this game? Sega Genesis Classic for PS4? That is fair. I do agree with this.
Comprehensive, but this is the best way to sample the Sega Genesis library today without the actual console and carts.
Oh, what is that fucking music? Jesus Christ.
I revisited all 53 games for this review, and I'd say about 90% of them are still fun to play today. There's a nice variety on display here, showcasing several different sides of the Genesis personality. Brawlers, platformers, RPGs, puzzle games, and whatever Decap Attack is.
Decap Attack! Oh yeah, Decap Attack was in this. I like this game a lot. I forgot about this. I love this character. I love Decap Attack. I remember playing this as a kid.
Highlights include Streets of Rage, which could shake down Double Dragon, Gunstar Heroes is a run-and-gun classic from one of the greatest action developers of the 90s, Phantasy Stars 2 and 4 are still terrific JRPGs. You could kill 50-plus hours with just these two quests. While there's plenty of meat on the bone, fans will no doubt find many of their favorites missing. There's nothing here from Capcom or Konami, nothing from Disney, so Aladdin is in a whole other world. There are also no sports games in the mix. Those absences can be explained away with licensing complications, but there are also some confusing first-party exclusions. Sonic 3, Sonic & Knuckles, and Echo the Dolphin
Facts. I agree.
Are all absent, despite being present for previous collections. The charming menu screen is presented as a 90s kid's bedroom. You've got your game library displayed next to your TV, but I really wish we could see the box art. Instead, we can only see the spines. In addition to trophies and achievements, there are challenges for performing very specific feats in certain games. In Columns, for example, you must start with a mid-game save and reach a score of 5,000. The collection tracks your number of attempts and gives you another goal to shoot for besides game completion or high score. I appreciate that this isn't a bare-bones pile of old games. As for emulator settings, there are various options for pixel smoothing and scan lines. One really nice feature allows you to slightly distort the edges of the screen in order to simulate the curved shape of a CRT television. Then there's Mirror Mode, which reverses all gameplay and text on screen. Virtually every side-scrolling game ever created sees you walking right, but now with this revolutionary feature, you can walk to the left. All joking aside, it's a cool way to experience a game like, say, Golden Axe 2, that you've played a million times in a fresh new way. A modern retro collection should have a good batch of games and some extra niceties like save states and emulator settings. Sega Genesis Classics checks those boxes, providing the best way to do what Nintendo don't today. The conspicuous absence of some first
7.8. Yeah, I would give it a 7.8. I think that's actually pretty fair, honestly. Yeah, that's an accurate score.
Party hits, however, keep this
fucking
from being a definitive package. Thanks for watching. For more on this collection, check out my long
God, that music. All right,
boosted by its inventive new team-based system, Team Sonic Racing is a gorgeous arcade racer full of blistering races, mind-bending tracks, and new ideas that make cooperation fun. While the story of the adventure mode certainly leaves plenty to be desired, the focus is exactly where it should be. The pure, unadulterated speed that makes Sonic so iconic. Whether you're drifting around corners to build up your boost meter, hitting pads as you rocket around tracks, or gliding through a teammate's slipstream, Team Sonic Racing is constantly pushing the speed limit. Every race is a non-stop search for ways to go even faster, and the entire team system is built around keeping your group traveling as a single fast-moving unit. For example, whoever is in the lead among your 3 team members leaves a yellow trail that teammates can drive in to quickly build up boost, then slide out of to initiate a slingshot maneuver. And when you pass a teammate, if they're struggling from a hazard or just got hit by a rival, you'll initiate a skim boost to send them rocketing back into the action. If they pass you, that can create a new slipstream to boost you back in front of them, and so on.
It's a continuous leapfrog loop that really makes the team system feel like it matters rather than just being tacked on. It's clever and addictive, and it incentivizes sticking together to boost one another. Unfortunately, the items at your disposal aren't quite as inspired. There isn't much else going on that we haven't seen in every game of this genre since Mario Kart.
They always mention Mario Kart, bro. What did they give this game? Oh yeah, the story was so fucking ass. I did not like the story in this game. What did they give this game? An 8.5. That is being way too generous. Oh
The
my
time for
god.
talking is over. It's time to push buttons. Rife with callbacks to the classic Sega video game series, the family-friendly Sonic the Hedgehog
Oh, this guy. This is the guy who did the
movie
that
is
one
designed
video.
to please Sonic fans of all ages. However, if you've never really cared for the Blue Blur, you'll probably want to avoid this flick like one of Dr. Robotnik's badniks.
How could something so adorable be so terrible?
The premise that finds this freakishly fast character on Earth rightfully doesn't take itself too seriously. Forced to flee his home world to escape villains trying to use his super speed for evil, teenage Sonic has lived in hiding in the town of Green Hills, Montana for a decade. While not exactly the Green Hill Zone fans may remember from the original 1991 game, it is a nice homage to the sprawling paradise found in the first level of the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, I think this game. This is a movie review. I think this movie does look really good for what it is. For me as a Sonic fan, I would give this like barely a 7, just barely. I think it is. I think it deserves a 7 for what it is. This movie's fine. It works. I would watch it again. Just for the shits and giggles of it being a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. For what it is, it looks really good. It looks really good.
This classic. Isolated in our world, Sonic has no one to talk to but himself and us as he occasionally breaks down the fourth wall, Deadpool style. So voice actor Ben Schwartz's portrayal is unique in that sense than other depictions of the character in games and cartoons. But like the voice actors who came before him, Schwartz is able to invoke that thrill-seeking spirit Sonic is known for. There are times where Sonic's constant banter with himself gets a bit too cartoonish, but the character evolves once he's forced out of isolation in order to escape the clutches of Dr. Robotnik and befriends Tom Wachowski.
No, this is not some fun family road trip. You're right. It was lame. Gift shop was cool, though.
From there,
I like that shit. I thought that was really fun. This did seem like it was going to be like a run-of-the-mill, like mediocre Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but it actually like it works. It's fine.
The plot is as straightforward as the 1991 Genesis game. Gotta go fast, make a mad dash to collect the rings, defeat the villainous Dr. Robotnik, and then on to the next act. But there's an additional element to round out the overarching story. It's a movie about friendship. James Marsden's Tom is looking for a little more purpose in his life, while Sonic is looking for a connection. They both find what they're looking for in each other while on the run from Dr. Robotnik.
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk.
This is another reason why I would give it 7. Jim Carrey is so good. He's so good. And I think that's the main issue I have with this film. It's the script. The script needs to be so much better because I know they're approaching that comedy. And I wish Sonic had more of it. Or the more of the humans. But Eggman, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik or Eggman, is genius. It works really well. And I am super excited about Keanu Reeves being Shadow. That's going to be peak.
Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them.
While it may be hard to believe anyone could compete with a CGI rendered Blue Blur, the most animated character throughout the film is Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik. Carrey's physicality and comedic timing evoke memories of his Ace Ventura heyday, proving the gifted comedian hasn't lost his touch. Robotnik is typically the smartest man in the room, and he makes sure everyone is well aware of it and just what he's capable of doing to their underdeveloped intellect.
I was not expecting that. But I was expecting not to expect something, so it doesn't count.
The film does suffer from employing too many visual effects we've seen used countless times before, often with more creativity. For example, many may remember the scene from X-Men Days of Future Past where Quicksilver cleverly shifts things around while running. You've seen it done before. It's just now it's got, Sonic. Although it's hard not to love the little blue guy throughout, Sonic's personality just isn't enough to overcome such worn-out ideas.
All right, I heard you the first time. You don't have to pile it on. Good grief.
Sonic the Hedgehog is more successful when it comes to nailing references to the source material. Director Jeff Fowler
Exactly.
doesn't.
That is very fair. Exactly. It's very good with the source material for what it is. Like, this looks fucking beautiful. This looks super good.
Exceptional job stuffing in as many Easter eggs from the Sonic games as possible, to the point where hardcore Sonic fans may have to watch the movie more than once to catch them all. If you're a Sonic fan worried whether this movie can truly encompass the nearly 3-decade history of Sonic the Hedgehog, don't be. While it's lacking in some of the deeper cuts in Sonic lore, such as trapped animals and aggressive robots and mystical emeralds, the essentials are all here. And the highly publicized and game-accurate redesign of the title character should keep fans more locked into the story of the fastest thing alive than distracted by his off-putting original look.
So, you're supposed to be Tom's best friend that he won't shut up about. Well, I don't see the appeal. That is very gross.
While this family-friendly action comedy suffers from a simplistic story and leans too heavily on tired visual cliches, Sonic the Hedgehog is nevertheless boosted by solid performances from Ben Schwartz and Jim Carrey. Their ongoing cat-and-mouse game is entertaining, and passionate fans of the Sega franchise should appreciate all the nods to Sonic's history. Make no mistake, this frantically paced film is made first and foremost for Sonic fans.
It
If you've
is.
been there for the little.
Very, very true. It is. It is made for Sonic fans. And Sonic fans really do like this movie. I liked the movie. I thought it was fine for what it
Blue
is.
fella these past 29 years, from his humble beginnings on the Sega Genesis.
I know there's way better video game movies like there. I think the Mario movie is way better. And I'm a huge Sonic fan. I grew up with Sonic. I grew up with Sonic and Mario. But as a huge Sonic fan, I can say the Mario movie is really good. And I think it's an amazing movie. This is fine as it is. It's fine. It works. I thought the Sonic 2 movie was better for what it was, with its source material and story being better. Like just better. But man, the comedy is just lacking. It's lacking more than the first one, but it has a better story.
To its current iteration, then Sonic the Hedgehog is the love letter you've probably been looking for.
That is fair.
For more reviews, then
I would give this a 7.2. Okay, cool. Wow, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. This is a pretty low bar. Sonic Colors Ultimate, man. Oh. How much do we have?
Originally released back in 2010 for the Wii, Sonic Colors marked a return to form for the Blue Blur. It righted the ship of Sonic's 3D missteps by focusing entirely on what makes the series fun, feeling like you're the fastest thing alive. Sonic Colors is that same game, remastered for modern platforms with improved lighting, 4K 60 FPS support, except on Switch of course, a remixed soundtrack, and a couple of other minor gameplay additions. None of these upgrades make Sonic Colors Ultimate a must-buy for returning fans, but for anyone who missed out on it due to, I don't know, being put off by the likes of Sonic 06 or Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, it's still good enough that this trip to Eggman's Interstellar Amusement Park is already an easy recommendation. Regardless of whether you've played before, the story of Sonic Colors won't be a surprise to anyone. Eggman is up to no good, seeking to harness the power of alien energy to fuel a mind control weapon, and it's up to Sonic and Tails to stop him.
Sonic!
The plot obviously isn't what anyone's here for, but at least it's well acted and sprinkled with a few chuckles here and there, especially thanks to Cubot and Orbot, Eggman's two robot henchmen who have their own little running gag of Cubot's voice chip constantly getting damaged and replaced, much to the chagrin of Eggman.
Y'all want fries with that? No! I reckon that hurt a bit.
What is important about the story, however, is that it introduces the Wisps, the small multicolored aliens that Eggman is hunting down. These Wisps are the main thing that separates Sonic Colors from every other mainline console Sonic game, both past and present. Think of them as transformation power-ups along the lines of what you'd find in a Mario game like Mario Odyssey, only you get to choose when you activate their powers. Pink Wisps can turn you into a spiked ball that allows you to cling to walls, yellow ones turn you into a drill that can dig underground, and teal Wisps turn you into a laser that can bounce off prisms and travel at the speed of light. They're unlocked as you progress through Sonic Colors, but you can always revisit old levels and replay them with Wisps that you unlocked later on to access new paths, which is actually something that we'll circle back to. There are a total of 9 Wisps that you can unlock over the course of Sonic Colors Ultimate, including a brand new Ghost Wisp that wasn't in the original game, and they primarily enhance 2 things that are key to a great Sonic game: maintaining your speed, and the multiple paths that allow you to find your own way through a level. A pink Wisp might give you the opportunity to completely bypass a slow platforming section by zipping up a wall. A drill Wisp might lead you to a subterranean path that's way faster than the one above ground. And a laser Wisp can instantly shoot you across a section lined with enemies, taking them all out at the literal speed of light. These particular power-ups do a great job of varying up the level design without ever slowing Sonic down. Then there are the ones more geared towards secret collecting, light puzzle solving, and platforming. And while these are certainly less exciting than the ones built around speed, they still make exploration and revisiting levels with new powers a lot of fun, as they can help you discover new paths that dramatically change the flow of a level, and even help you improve your time or score. The new Ghost Wisp is probably the weakest of the bunch, as it's really only used to mix up the locations of some hidden red rings compared to where they were in the original game. With it, you can float through walls by pulling yourself to an anchor point, and, well, that's about it. Unlike the other Wisp powers, it's never really used in any sort of clever or satisfying way. The one downside to the Wisps is that because they're drip-fed to you one at a time over the course of the whole game, the first time through the early levels of Sonic Colors isn't nearly as fun as they are when you're able to replay them with all the Wisps unlocked. This causes the first few hours to be kind of a drag because you're often forced along paths that are slow and tedious. That's an issue that carries over from the original, but one that Sonic Colors Ultimate introduces for the first time is related to its remixed soundtrack. The first 3 levels of any world play a newly remixed theme, and the last 3 levels play the original versions. The bummer is that there's no way to choose which version you want to hear, which sucks because I've found that most of the original themes are far superior to the overly
That's fair. I think that's a fair critique.
produced remixes. The soundtrack is still great all around, don't get me wrong, but it seems strange to have both versions and not give you the option of selecting which one you want to hear on a given level. The other big gameplay addition is a rival rush mode that allows you to race against Metal Sonic in what is essentially just a dressed-up time trial. It's a fun way to challenge yourself to beat a level quickly, but it feels like it should be something that you can do on every level instead of there just being one per world. A total of just 6 races altogether. Cosmetic items were also added in the remaster, giving you the ability to customize Sonic's shoes, gloves, aura, and boost effect by spending a new currency that you can collect throughout each level. None of them are particularly noteworthy though. It's just some straight recolors, simple visual effects, and tacky patterns. I found myself just sticking with the classic look. On the graphical side of things, Sonic Colors Ultimate holds up reasonably well for a nearly 11-year-old Wii game. The one sour spot is the cutscenes, which were not redone and are super low res on a modern screen, but the actual gameplay runs at a steady 60 FPS in 4K on the PlayStation 5, and there are some nice improvements made to the lighting and character models. Most importantly, Sonic Colors Ultimate benefits from having been a gorgeous game to begin with. Its levels are among the most imaginative the series has ever seen. From the Rainbow Road-esque Starlight Carnival that has Sonic speeding through space while an intergalactic war plays out in the background, to the dreamlike Sweet Mountain that's made entirely of junk food. Every world is beaming with creativity, and the unifying theme of it all being part of an amusement park is just icing on the cake. As a remaster, Sonic Colors Ultimate throws in a decent amount of new stuff, but nothing beyond the frame rate and resolution bump really add up to anything that elevates the experience beyond what it was on the Wii. That said, it was already great in 2010, and it still holds up as one of the best modern Sonic games to date, thanks to its imaginative level designs, a laser focus on the things that make the series fun, and the addition of the power-granting wisps that add a ton of variety to each level without compromising the speed that should define a Sonic game.
An 8. Wow.
Quick stretch, little snack, and here we go.
When it was released in 2020, Sonic the Hedgehog earned the distinction of being one of the few actually good video game movies, but it certainly wasn't reinventing the wheel. Instead, it harkened back to an era when kids' movies were decidedly for kids and unapologetically unpretentious. And if you were into that, like I was, then you can rest assured that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 brings more of that exact same energy. A lot more. For better or worse, this sequel feels bigger in every way. It does bite off a bit more than it can chew, but for the most part, it's just as funny, charming, and heartfelt as the first movie.
Sorry, who are you?
Name's Tails.
Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Step 1, light taunting. Step 2, I have no idea.
There are several aspects in which this sequel improves upon its predecessor, in particular, how much more of Sega's Sonic universe feels baked into it. Of course, this is inherent just in the fact that famous characters Tails and Knuckles are joining the Blue Blur in this go-around, and whenever the three critters are on screen together, it's a blast.
Hope I'm not too late.
Longtime Tails voice actor Colleen O'Shaughnessy reprises the role for the big screen here, which was a smart choice. She brings all the sweetness and earnestness that the adorable fox needs. Tails' relationship with Sonic, who's again voiced by Ben Schwartz, which remains great casting, is an emotional highlight as well, and allows the Hedgehog some admirable character development. The sequel really leans into the fact that this superpowered mammal is still just a kid, and it's all the better for it, with some satisfying growth from the speedy blue hero. As for our other furry friend, Idris Elba steps into the shoes of Knuckles, and yeah, of course it's awesome. Is anyone surprised? He brings a certain gravitas to the role, but also gets some of the funniest lines in the movie as the hilarious, self-serious echidna. He and Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik are perfect foils for each other as entertainingly mismatched allies.
I agree. I really loved Knuckles in this. I liked this movie. I liked it. I thought the jokes... You know what? I don't even care at this point. Honestly, I like the Sonic movies. I think they're all fine. But it does feel very safe. It does feel a bit safe, but in a good way. Like, there definitely was passion put into these. And the story works. It works for a movie. I like it. And for Sonic fans, this is extremely good. And I mean, I'm a Sonic fan. But I, like, comparing the others, like, it's not amazing. I just think it's good. For what it is, it's fine.
Papa's got a brand new stash.
Speaking of which, if this really is Carrey's last role before retiring from acting, then it feels fitting that it's possibly the most Jim Carrey of all Jim Carrey performances. He goes even bigger as Robotnik continues to lose his marbles and manages to be appropriately menacing at times too. It's Carrey at his over-the-top best. The humans aside from Robotnik, however, don't fare as well. Sonic the Hedgehog 2's biggest flaw is that it doesn't quite know how to juggle the characters and storyline from the previous movie gracefully as it ushers in its new players. Without getting into too many plot details, it begins by whisking Tom and Maddie to Hawaii, and every time we cut to them and their human drama, the film loses steam. It's natural that they wouldn't just want to kick Sonic's adoptive parents to the curb, that would be even worse, but their story feels shoehorned in a way that halts the momentum rather than builds on it. The silver lining is that Natasha Rothwell, as Maddie's sister Rachel, gets a few very funny moments to shine in these scenes. It's also indicative of Sonic the Hedgehog 2's other big issue, its length. At 2 hours, it clocks in at 20 minutes longer than its predecessor, which feels wholly unnecessary. It's such a blast in the first half as it moves briskly with colorful action, but starts to overstay its welcome in the second half. Still, the overall heart of its message largely makes up for its shortcomings. Yes, we've seen the power of friendship theme over and over again in kids' movies, but Sonic the Hedgehog 2 really makes it work, especially in its warm, sincere, and well-earned conclusion. This franchise is still finding its footing, but it continues to move in the right direction.
You're never going to get my power.
That's fair. That's really fair. It's this franchise, this era, when Sonic 1, 2, Frontiers, Superstars, and Dream Team. It's moving in the right direction. This franchise is moving in a really good direction. A really good and bright future. And Sonic X Shadow Generations looks peak. It looks like some of the best work Sonic Team has ever created. And that's saying a lot. Because the best Sonic game we've gotten, 3D, was, I guess, Dream Team, but also, like, Generations. Like, that actually put passion in you. Or Mania. Well, 3D-wise, it would be Generations and Unleashed and Dream Team. It's not that there was passion in Frontiers. I just don't think there was a lot of effort. There was a lot of effort, of course, but there wasn't a lot of effort. Not as much as Unleashed and Generations.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 improves upon its predecessor in many ways, while falling short in a few others. It feels more attuned to Sonic lore than ever before, and Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are a ton of fun together, as is Jim Carrey's wonderfully over-the-top reprisal of Dr. Robotnik. However, it doesn't quite know how to make its other human characters work, and it's definitely longer than it needs to be.
That's very
Still,
fair.
it's overall a sweet, funny, action-packed ride that fully embraces its video game roots.
Where are my manners? Sonic, meet Knuckles.
That's fair.
For more Sonic the Hedgehog,
I would give it a 7. I think it's fair.
Sonic Frontiers doesn't limit you to a small, carefully curated menu of things to try.
Okay, great.
Instead, it takes the all-you-can-eat buffet approach, throwing new ideas at you from start to finish, without really seeming to care if they're fresh and appetizing or looking wilted and limp under the heat lamp. When I jumped off the starting line of the sprint across Sonic's first open-world game, I certainly didn't expect to play jump rope, duke it out with a giant robot, watch a dramatic origin story for an extinct race of beings, or...
Do you know how to fish? I'll teach you if you want.
But Frontiers kept me guessing, even late into the campaign, with what it would try next. Even when some of those ideas didn't work, I was almost always glad that Sega gave it the old college try, and as a result, I rarely found myself bored. I did find myself feeling blue because of the absurd amount of pop-in that happens every time this
That's fair. That's a fair critique, actually. That there is a numerous amount of pop in this. Okay, so let me break down about me with Frontiers. It seems like a mix with Frontiers, but I actually like Frontiers a lot. I do. I like it. I don't think it's a great game. I think it's a good game. But I think it's a step in the right direction for the franchise as a whole, like with mainline Sonic games. And Sonic X Shadow Generations, like the Shadow gameplay, is proof that we are really back. And I think Sonic gameplay will improve. Each game will improve. I think Sega has finally learned their lesson. I think the reason why Superstars was the way it was is definitely because of Mario Wonder. They really wanted to surpass Mario and wanted to be back. So they rushed the game. Not too much, so it didn't sell that well, but also didn't get bad reviews. It got mixed. But it didn't get below average, so that's good. So the Sonic cycle is like broken. We've had like 3 good Sonic games. I mean, Sonic Superstars is okay, but still, we've had like 3 decently good Sonic games.
Famously fast character does his thing, but Sonic Frontiers is, for the most part, a promising first attempt at blazing a new trail for the series.
Fair. True.
While you're working your way through Frontiers' chain of 5 Starfall Islands during its roughly 20-hour campaign, you'll uncover the dark and extremely predictable backstory of a long-extinct race while hanging out with Sonic family favorites like Amy and Knuckles. You'll also meet this strange new enemy named Sage, and learn what her deal is in the most agonizingly slow way possible.
You leave immediately.
Since her main hobbies appear to be dodging pointed questions and speaking exclusively in vagaries.
If we are fortunate, it will destroy you.
With all of the different plot threads Frontiers juggles, they do end up feeling oddly disconnected from each other, and none of them offer a ton of surprises between their ungodly number of cliches concerning the power of friendship and ancient civilizations wielding advanced technology.
I got a sense of completion, comfort.
Weird. But they do leave room for some really good moments between the furry cast of characters.
Never a
True.
dull moment with you.
In fact, Frontiers produces some of the most in-depth characterizations of the Sonic cast we've ever seen in a game. One part of the campaign hones in on the brotherly rivalry between Sonic and Knuckles, while another does a great job at building Tails up as more than just Sonic's sidekick. All of that more than sated my ravenous appetite for Sonic's usual anime-style nonsense.
It's strange, but feels natural.
In between all of the fancy robot kicking and rolling around at the speed of sound. Sprinting through the sprawling open-world areas is, as you'd hope, one of the best parts of this odyssey. The islands you dash about on are suitably large playgrounds for you to test the limits of your road running, so long as you don't fall into water or lava that immediately kills you. My personal favorite new trick, though, is the Psy Loop. It lets you draw a circle while blazing a trail to create a tornado of death that impacts everything caught within it. This ability can be used and abused to do damage in combat, solve puzzles, and even farm rings since it generates a few every time. Plus, literally running in circles around your enemies is just an incredibly Sonic thing to do, which is why I practically never stopped doing it throughout my playthrough.
Same.
What becomes clear after a few laps around the first island is that Sonic Frontiers is an action-adventure game that joins a growing pack of old-school series looking to reimagine themselves as open-world sandboxes. And in this particular case, it mostly works out. Just like Pokemon Legends Arceus and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain before it, Frontiers keeps a lot of what makes the Sonic series beloved and unique, including some fun homages, but also throws in big areas to explore and fills them with a wild assortment of side distractions and mostly interesting new ideas. Not all of those activities are created equal, but it works overall just because of the sheer variety. One moment you're juggling robots like you're playing baby's first Devil May Cry, the next you're trying to beat a time trial in a 2D platforming stage. And a minute after that, you're playing a game of pinball inside of an active volcano. You'll grind truly epic rails, solve extremely simple puzzles, do some puzzle platforming, and of course, catch fish. Because if you can't fish, does it even count as an open world game? There were moments where I saw glimpses of genius in this bizarre hodgepodge of activities. Sections called cyberspace levels smartly break up the open world by teleporting you into bite.
I didn't like these levels.
Size.
I did not like the cyberspace levels. I don't like them. It's not even the level design that I hate. I actually like the level design. It's infinitely better than Force's. My main issue is how Sonic feels. It's not as bad as Lost World, but still, I don't like how he feels. He feels like a massive downgrade from Force's, like modern Sonic. He doesn't feel fast enough, and the drift is like super loose and bad.
Traditionally linear Sonic levels, where you're racing the clock and collecting rings as you mad dash for the goal line. On the other hand, one of the big things Frontiers tries that doesn't work well is combat. You're just mashing buttons to pull off simple combos and knock the snot out of faceless robotic.
You only do that. You do different button combinations, though. So this doesn't really make any sense.
Enemies. I appreciated the occasional break from platforming, but since it never proves to be a challenge and throws you into almost identical fights again and again, I soon came to resent being yanked out of my lightning speed racing just to smack down another bunch of dumb toaster-looking fools. It's especially annoying when it comes to the mini-bosses roaming the open world, who
that is kind of true.
Often dragged me into unskippable fight sequences that weren't particularly challenging or interesting, though the giant bosses that cap off each island, which I will not spoil here, are far more exciting. There are other things Frontiers has you do, like solving very easy puzzles that range from mildly amusing minigames to completely brain-dead chores. Or
that's fair.
Dipping your toes into RPG mechanics by gathering collectibles to raise your stats. These aren't terrible additions, but they also don't feel like they're entirely fleshed out. The upgrades in particular are a bit odd since they do things like let you carry more rings or increase your attack and defense stats by such minor amounts that they barely have an impact on gameplay. It's almost like the developer shrugged and said, sure, why not? And threw every idea they could come up with into the mix just for the heck of it. The biggest shortcoming with this new open world design, though, has nothing to do with the buffet of mostly amusing activities. It's simply that Frontiers is not at all able to keep up with Sonic's godlike speed.
That's also fair.
On a technical level. My immersion was broken about every 5 seconds when large objects popped into view right in front of me. Granted, that's sometimes hilarious, but it's always jarring and just plain ugly.
True. I don't like the pop-in at all. I don't like it.
Most of the time, it's a railing or platform that blips into existence a couple feet away from you, but sometimes it's entire areas of the world. For all of its amazing quick loading capabilities, the PS5 just couldn't seem to handle how hilariously fast Frontiers let me go. Whether I was playing in the 4K resolution mode at 30 FPS, or the much more desirable 60 FPS mode, seriously, what are we even doing here playing a game this fast at any less? The pop-in was always a common issue.
Help me find the Chaos Emerald so I can beat up some big robots. You'll be free and back to guarding the Master Emerald in no time. Sounds like a plan.
Sonic Frontiers is a delightfully weird and experimental evolution of the Sonic games so many of us grew up with. Its expansive islands are filled with so much variety and pieces of Sonic history, from classic platforming stages to silly minigames, that they're enjoyable to explore even when awful graphical pop-in is a constant hedgehog spine in your side. Some of the new stuff Frontiers tries out, like the self-contained cyberspace levels within its open worlds, are fantastic ways to pack as much Sonic goodness as possible into one package, while others, especially combat, are uninteresting experiments gone wrong. Still, I largely
agree. I think the combat was good. In fact, I thought the combat in this game was great. It's not button mashing at all. You use different. It is not button. I wouldn't say button mashing. You use different button mappings for different combats, different combat moves. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. And they're utilized really well in the boss, too, which makes it more fun. And the boss fights in this game definitely are easily the best thing in this game.
Enjoyed my time running around in Frontiers, making it feel like a promising first attempt at what could be a bright new era for Sonic and friends.
That's true. I agree. This is the best 7 out of 10 game for Sonic fans. Sonic Prime. They're gonna give this like a 7, bro.
Sonic. Eggman, just in time.
I hate Prime. I really hate Prime. 8. I hate Prime though. I hate it so much. I forgot to put the others in, but let's see the Sonic Superstars IGN review.
Most Sonic games put the pedal to the metal, but Sonic Superstars trades the traditional breakneck pace for new Chaos Emerald abilities, a larger focus on exploration, and slightly more challenging bosses. That stylistic shift works well for the majority of Superstars, as a slightly different flavor of Sonic can be fun. I couldn't help but feel like it was missing the main thing I love about the series: speed.
Speed? Live and learn?
Sonic Superstars
What?
campaign is split into 3 stories across 11 zones all over the new North Star Islands, showcasing flashy levels that occasionally draw inspiration from other well-known stages in Sonic's history. For example, the Speed Jungle Zone brings back the use of vines from the original Sonic the Hedgehog's Jungle Zone. Pinball Carnival puts both a fun and spooky twist on Sonic 3's Carnival Night Zone, and the Press Factory is a more industrial version of the Press Garden Zone from Sonic Mania. I don't think any of the new stages will crack the top of my list of all-time Sonic favorites, but there are a lot of great additions to the series here, and I enjoyed that each one has a cool quirk with it. One is a giant snake burrowing throughout the level that gives you a slight bounce when moving along it, while another has patches of thick fog that obscure your vision. I also really enjoyed Lagoon City, which felt like a giant water theme park and made the best use of the new water power granted by one of the Chaos Emeralds.
I agree. The only things I have wrong with this game is the gimmicks are mixed. The music, the Jun Sonoe music is bad or mediocre or fine. And I don't like the boss fights. I think the boss fights are the worst part of the game. They drag on for so long. The first 2 are fine, but the others are just so bad. They just drag on for so long. And during like the final, like the middle and end of the game, they're just horrible. And the final boss is like really bad.
There are multiple routes to take in each level. The higher you ascend, the faster the route, while the lower routes focus even more on the platforming side. At first, it was fun to explore those lower routes using different playable characters and the various Chaos Emerald powers to explore their less streamlined paths for secrets, but after discovering my only reward for that exploration was either more rings or a currency used on cosmetics in the lackluster multiplayer battle mode, there wasn't much incentive to try and navigate the extra hazards and enemies. That meant I eventually just wanted to stick to some good old-fashioned going fast, but even when I took the highest routes, I didn't feel the speed I've come to expect over the past 30 years of Sonic. It wasn't until after the 15 hours I spent clearing all the story content that I was able to go back and start to find more efficient routes in order to get a better feeling of that speed. Still, that doesn't help the fact that everything feels a bit too slow out the gate for your first playthrough.
What do you mean? I don't get this. This is so weird. I get it in a certain extent. I get it. There are some levels that have way too much platforming that feel like they should be in a Mario game. Like way too much. And Sonic has definitely Sonic's had that in like Advanced 1 and Colors. But this year it did, it's just a lot.
Collecting the Chaos Emeralds is more straightforward than ever this time, as the increased focus on exploration encouraged me to seek out the giant golden rings that hide them during my travels. Finding one sends you off to play a short minigame to earn the emerald, which ended up being the one minigame I didn't mind stopping for, as it was both entertaining and rewarding. And the Chaos Emeralds are no longer relegated to only granting Sonic the ability to go super, as each one now grants a unique power. Abilities like Avatar and Bullet became quick favorites of mine. Avatar creates clones that race across the screen, while Bullet lets you launch yourself in the direction of your choice multiple times. Bullet became extremely helpful when playing as Sonic specifically too, as he lacks the extra movement options you get when you play as Tails, Knuckles, or Amy. Superstars 3 campaign story pits Sonic and friends against Eggman and Fang, though Eggman does most of the heavy lifting. He'll challenge you regularly with various egg machines shaped like clowns, dragonflies, and giant mechs, and more. But gone are the days of constantly bouncing to destroy them quickly. Long sections of them being untargetable as you wait to counter specific attacks.
I agree.
Bosses often outstay their welcome.
I definitely agree with this. Definitely.
welcome as they sometimes double or triple the completion time of a stage.
Yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, Fang might have some of the most challenging boss fights in any Sonic game. With small vulnerability windows to take damage, multiple phases, and numerous one-hit kill attacks that ignore your collection of rings. This started as a welcome difficulty spike, but became flat out frustrating after fights started to drag on and on. Thankfully, you'll still be able to enjoy Superstar's phenomenal soundtrack as you fight them, with music that matches the theme of each.
Phenomenal. Okay. In a certain way, yes, the soundtrack is phenomenal. I think it's very good. But the other half is so underwhelming for what it is. Like, I'm sorry. If half of your soundtrack is underwhelming and half of it is incredible, it's just going to be a mixed bag. Like, I'm sorry. It sucks, but that's how it do be.
Stage perfectly. I couldn't find one that didn't have me tapping my toes to their percussive and electronic beats. Nearly every track, with a special shout out to Lagoon City Act 2, had me replaying their stages just to idle and listen to their music.
It just sounds really good.
Unfortunately, the sound design isn't up to the same standard. I don't know who thought listening to this for minutes on end was a good idea. I ended up muting my TV at times to keep myself from getting a splitting headache. Superstars also includes 4-player drop-in, drop-out local co-op, but as great as this sounds, it could be better in its execution. The experience is clever at its best and frustrating at its worst, as the camera doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason for who it decides to follow.
I mean, it had that in the old game, so it's fine here.
Sometimes it would track me as Sonic as I sped past my co-op partner playing Knuckles, while other times it would allow me to run off the screen while he climbed a wall. This type of thing was a constant occurrence. It's also a shame that Superstars doesn't feature any accessibility settings, and many actions require repetitive button presses. This would be fine if it weren't a common occurrence, but anyone who wants to make full use of flying as Tails needs to constantly press the jump button to ascend in height. The worst offender, though, is one of the later bosses that can capture you in an electric web, and if you fail to break free via button mashing, it hits you with a one-hit KO move. Outside of the campaign, the battle mode and time attack mode are pretty bare bones. I don't expect a lot from a time attack mode, and this one at least does have simple leaderboards to see others in your best times. It's serviceable if you want to know just how fast you gotta go, but it's a bummer that you can only challenge the ghost of your own best times and not those who may have ranked higher on the leaderboard, which would be immensely helpful in learning the best routes to improve my own times. As for the 8-player battle mode, everyone but the most die-hard Sonic fans will probably abandon it as soon as they finish their first match. You and up to 7 others create a robot based on a variety of animals and Sonic characters to compete in 3 random minigames across various maps, which are equally simple and only mildly entertaining at best. I only saw 4 minigame options in the 10 or so matches played: a standard race to the finish, a survival game that challenges you to stay on crumbling platforms, a game called Star Snatcher where you must collect more stars than your opponents, and finally Zap Scrap, which has you blasting opponents with sparks of electricity for points. The higher you place after 3 rounds, the more giant Sonic coins you'll be rewarded with, which you can spend in the shop to customize your avatar. You can also earn these coins during the campaign, as anytime you pass a checkpoint with more than 50 rings, it opens a portal that takes you into the classic Sonic minigame, where you must maneuver around the inside of a rotating set of blocks to reach the goal. These were fun initially, but as they began to repeat themselves, I started avoiding them sometimes during the first campaign, and then almost every time in the second, because they just slowed the pacing of the stage down even further. I started Hedgehog over heels for Sonic Superstars, but the more time I put into it, the easier it was for me to see its Eggman-sized flaws. The decision to focus on exploration was a great idea on paper, and creates a unique dynamic to each level, but I wish it hadn't sacrificed speed in exchange. The boss designs are creative and
What is
clever.
with speed? It's not even that bad. Like, really? That's a flaw? It's not enough speed. Sonic's not going very fast. Like, really, bro?
But often wear out their welcome with long periods of being untargeted.
This is fair, though. This this boss length thing is fair.
Forgettable and occasionally frustrating one-hit KO mechanics. The soundtrack features some excellent additions to an already long list of Sonic bangers, if only the sound design was up to the same quality standard. And while the campaign is still enjoyable, Superstars multiplayer components are far worse options than anything in the past Sonic games. Like digging emeralds out of the rough, Sonic Superstars' new ideas end up feeling like a mix of both interesting and ill-advised, making it an amusing Sonic game, but not exactly a super one.
Fair.
For more, check out our reviews of Detective Pikachu.
I thought that was fair. This is true, though. It is about momentum. Okay, we got one more game. We got Dream Team. I love this game.
It seems Eggman was using cream and cheese as a conduit to interface with that relic.
Hot on the heels of a new full-size Sonic game in Sonic Superstars, the Apple Arcade exclusive Sonic Dream Team might not look like it has much to offer at first. It only has a dozen levels, and all you get control-wise are a D-pad and 2 buttons. For some, the fact that it's only available on Apple devices, at least for the time being, is a non-starter all its own. But despite all that, Sonic Dream Team more than manages to justify its existence. In fact, its superb level design and bite-sized missions make it one of the most fun, creative, and enjoyable 3D platformers in a long time.
True.
Sonic Dream Team's story kicks off when Dr. Eggman finds a device that brings his dreams into reality. This is obviously bad news for reality, so it's up to Sonic and friends to work their way through 4 dream worlds and defeat him. Unfortunately, the story is forgettable, lifelessly told through voiceover on top of still images, like a...
I don't really think that's a flaw. I thought the story was good. It was a forgettable moment, but I liked it for what it was.
a radio play accompanied by comic book panels. But even with his brief runtime of around 5 or 6 hours to reach 100% completion, the levels between those cutscenes pack in more delights than many much larger games. Each world is visually striking, with its own distinct set of enemies and interactive elements. That ranges from the Scrambled Shores, a tropical area filled with giant inflatable structures, to the Dream Factory, which has conveyor belts and pistons set over lava pits. The best is the third world, Nightmare Maze, which is like a colorful take on an MC Escher drawing, with shifting gravity that lets you run up walls and onto the ceiling, reaching new areas in mind-bending ways. It's the only world that really takes advantage of the dream concept, making it something of a missed opportunity that the other 3 are fairly standard Sonic settings. And unlike many other Sonic games, the music is auditory wallpaper at best and a repetitive annoyance at worst.
Oh yeah!
Each world is made up of only 3 levels, for a grand total of 12 in the entire campaign. While that may sound like a skimpy offering, they are all big, open playgrounds with plenty of offshoots and distinct areas to discover that break up the usual platforming. Be that a room that's all rails and pits, or a long running tube wrapped in thorns you have to sprint over. That makes everyone...
Oh, would you look at that? They did Sonic Lost World level design, but they actually did it well because of the incredible control. Wow. This proves that Sonic Team is like back. Like, this is some of the best 3D Sonic people have ever seen. Like, this is very good.
One of them a joy to zip through and explore. Movement is fast and smooth, so running through the world feels fantastic. Levels are filled with various routes you can take that have rails and springboards to fling you forward, keeping your momentum going as you leap between platforms and bounce off enemies. You can still misjudge a jump or bungle an obstacle's timing, but unlike some Sonic games, you'll rarely ram into a blockade or obstacle designed to stop you from blazing ahead. Even when you do run out of rings or fall into a pit, Sonic Dream Team's checkpoints are forgiving, so you'll never lose much progress. You only start out with Sonic and Amy as playable characters, but you'll unlock 2 other pairs as you progress, each of which gives you access to a new ability unique to them.
Sonic and Amy's ability lets you zip through strings of floating rings that take you wherever the path leads, high or low. Tails and Cream can both fly briefly, and most levels have floating yellow hoops that replenish that ability mid-air. Finally, Knuckles and Rouge can climb certain walls. All of these powers are fun to use, opening up new paths and opportunities in the levels depending on who you're playing as. Unlocking new levels requires you to collect a certain number of orbs, but you'll never have enough to progress after playing the previous level just once. This means you constantly have to replay levels you've already beaten. That can be a major source of frustration in some games, but thankfully it's not a problem at all in Sonic Dream Team. In fact, replaying levels is a blast because of the way missions work, which make them function more like a Super Mario Galaxy stage than a typical Sonic world. You start every level by selecting a mission that will reward you with an orb upon completion. Each level has 7 missions, the first of which generally has you go through the whole level to unlock the exit. You can explore and collect items at your own pace during the first mission, but others are timed, making you discover optimal routes to speedrun the level. Other missions drop you in a walled-off section of a level and have you collect orb shards that are scattered around, asking you to slow down and explore intricately designed areas you might otherwise miss as you speed through the environment.
I am looking after your friends, but they will need your help.
Getting access to new characters also unlocks additional missions in previous levels that make use of their specific abilities, giving you a good reason to revisit them later on. For instance, you might have to go through a checkpoint that's waiting at the top of a wall only Knuckles or Rouge can climb. The excellent level design and those diverse mission requirements work together to make Sonic Dream Team a joy to play, even with its seemingly limited number of stages. It's never frustrating to have to dip back into a level to complete another mission, as they always felt fresh and fun. Capping off each world is a boss encounter, which are all cleverly conceived but feel undercooked in practice. The first boss is a huge inflatable crab, and you have to pop its various body parts to defeat it. That's a delightful concept and a great idea for a silly boss battle, but the crab only takes 4 hits to beat, so the fight is over before you know it. It just feels anticlimactic, and the same goes for most of the other bosses. Yes! This being an Apple Arcade game, you can play it on most Apple devices. The touchscreen controls work fine on iPhone. It's not as precise as using a physical controller, which you can also do, but it's perfectly serviceable. On iPad, however, the buttons are spaced too far apart for comfort, and touch controls in general become a problem in some harder missions later on. The optimal setup is to use a controller on a bigger screen, like a MacBook or external display, which makes Sonic Dream Team look and play just like a console game. The larger display also helps because sometimes the camera pulls back for a wide view, making your character nearly microscopic on a phone display. Your save also syncs.
If only it was for console, right?
It's via iCloud, so you can pick up and play on any Apple device you have lying around, which is super convenient. Sonic Dream Team packs a surprising amount of fun into a limited number of levels. By having you complete a diverse set of missions within them, it manages to keep things feeling fresh from start to finish, even as you play through the same areas numerous times. Its missions are engaging enough that it's hard not to go back and finish off any you missed right after conquering Eggman. While the music and story presentation could have been better, and the touchscreen controls aren't ideal as the difficulty increases toward the end, Sonic Dream Team has still sped onto the list of fantastic recent 3D platformers. For more, check out our reviews of Sonic Superstars or Super Mario RPG, and for everything else, stick with us here at IGN.
Wow, that was fair. I would give it an 8. That's true. It is criminal this is not on Switch. This is true. This is all very, very true. This is proof that Sega actually has a chance at doing a 3D Sonic game like this. Its potential that can be unleashed. But yeah, I'm really tired, and it's like 11 for me, bro. God damn. So, yeah. I'm just gonna head on to bed. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Reviewing all the Sonic reviews from IGN. But yeah, I gotta go to bed. I'm tired as shit. So I hope you'll have a good rest of your day or tomorrow, whatever the hell. And I'll see you later. Bye.